What's good? What's good? Sorry, I was here stuck in the middle. Gonna start with a disclaimer. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully, I'm wrong. But my prediction is if you are live streaming this on YouTube, 1 2 1 2. Sorry, audio issues. Let's double check. I'm going to start with a disclaimer. I'm going to jump in. I don't know if Trump started yet or not. I just got back from dropping the kids off at swimming. And I'm going to start with a disclaimer. The disclaimer is I got a buzzing noise. There's always something. I got my disclaimer is I think that YouTube's going to take this down and give anybody a strike who's streaming it. So I'm going to have to put, I don't know if YouTube allows you to put a Rumble link, but I'm still going to put a link to my Rumble. I should be live on Rumble. Let me double check right now. I'm looking through. Let's see. Rumble, Rumble, Rumble. There we go. Rumble is live. So I'm just going to do this once. I have not posted any Rumble links in YouTube because I believe they don't like that. But I'm going to do that for this one. If you go to the description of the video, you will see the actual link to the Rumble stream because I am predicting that it will get a strike and it will get taken down. I could be wrong. Hopefully I am wrong and just paranoid. Big night. Let me see. I don't know what's going on. Don't want to miss any Trump. So let me get the stream going. I'm actually going to be sharing the stream through Rumble. Let's see what's going on. What do we got going? This is through Right Side Broadcasting Network. I believe they're not even, I don't even think they're doing it on YouTube, are they? Let's see here. Let me share the screen. Looks like they're getting started.
Well, thank you very much. And on behalf of Melania, myself, and our entire family, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It's a very special occasion at a very special place. You and all of those watching are the heart and soul of this incredible movement and greatest country in the history of the world. It's very simple. There's never been anything like it. This great movement of ours, never been anything like it, and perhaps there will never be anything like it again. There's never been anything to compete with what we have all done. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and my fellow citizens, America's comeback starts right now. Two years ago, when I left office, the United States stood ready for its golden age. Our nation was at the pinnacle of power, prosperity, and prestige, towering above all rivals, vanquishing all enemies, and striding into the future, confident and so strong. In 4 short years, everybody was doing great. Men, women, African Americans, Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans, everybody was thriving like never before. There was never a time like this. We turned the page on decades of globalist sellouts and one-sided trade deals, lifted millions out of poverty, and together we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. When the virus hit our shores, I took decisive action and saved lives and the U.S. economy. And by October of the same year, America was roaring back with the #1 fastest economic recovery ever recorded. How about that? All of the incoming administration and all they had to do was just sit back and watch. Inflation was non-existent. Our southern border was by far the strongest ever. And because the border was so tight, drugs were coming into our country at the lowest level in many, many years. Importantly, after decades of rising energy costs, the United States had finally attained the impossible dream of American energy independence, which soon would have turned into energy dominance. For the first time in memory, China was reeling and back on its heels. You've never seen that before, because the United States was outdoing them on every single front, and China was paying billions and billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs. The farmers know that because they got 28 billion of it. No president had ever sought or received $1 for our country from China until I came along, and we were getting hundreds of billions of dollars. Many people think that because of this, China played a very active role in the 2020 election. Just saying, just saying. Sure, that didn't happen. Instead of jobs and factories leaving America for China, they were for the first time ever leaving China for America. Businesses were pouring back because of our historic tax and regulation cuts, the biggest in both categories in history, bigger even than what Ronald Reagan was able to produce, and he produced a lot. China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea were in check and respected. They respected the United States, and quite honestly, they respected me. I knew them well. I knew them well. The vicious ISIS caliphate, which no president was able to conquer, was decimated by me and our great warriors in less than 3 weeks, and al-Baghdadi, its founder, was hunted down and killed. North Korea had not launched a single long-range missile since my summit with Chairman Kim Jong-un nearly 3 years before. We developed a relationship, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a good thing, very good thing, actually, because look at what's happening today. My opponents made me out to be a warmonger and just a terrible person who would immediately go into war. They said during the 2016 campaign that if he becomes president, there will never be a war within weeks. And we will have wars like you've never seen before. It will happen immediately. And yet, I've gone decades without a war, the first president to do it for that long a period. The world was at peace, America was prospering, and our country was on track for an amazing future, because I made big promises to the American people, and unlike other presidents, I kept my promises. I kept them. Thank you very much. Under our leadership, we were a great and glorious nation, something you haven't heard for quite a long period of time. We were a strong nation, and importantly, we were a free nation. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation. For millions of Americans, the past 2 years under Joe Biden have been a time of pain, hardship, anxiety, and despair. As we speak, inflation is the highest in over 50 years. Gas prices have reached the highest levels in history and expect them to go much higher now that the strategic national reserves, which I filled up, have been virtually drained in order to keep gasoline prices lower just prior to the election. Joe Biden has intentionally surrendered our energy independence. There is no longer even a thought of dominance. and we are now begging for energy help from foreign nations, many of whom find us detestable. Our southern border has been erased, and our country is being invaded by millions and millions of unknown people, many of whom are entering for a very bad and sinister reason. And you know what that reason is. We will be paying a big price for this invasion into our country for years to come. Hundreds of thousands of pounds of deadly drugs, including very lethal fentanyl, are flooding across the now open and totally porous southern border. The blood-soaked streets of our once great cities are cesspools of violent crimes, which are being watched all over the world as leadership of other countries explain that this is what America and democracy is really all about. How sad. The United States has been embarrassed, humiliated, and weakened for all to see. The disasters in Afghanistan, perhaps the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, where we lost lives, left Americans behind, and surrendered $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment anywhere in the world. And Ukraine, which would have never happened if I were your president, are something and even the Democrats admit that. That's something I've seen them admit over and over again. But our enemies are speaking of us with scorn and laughter and derision because of those two events. But there are many more. Even just today, a missile was sent in, probably by Russia, to Poland, 50 miles into Poland, and people are going absolutely wild and crazy, and they're not happy. They're very, very angry. Now we have a president who falls asleep at global conferences, was held in contempt by the British Parliament over Afghanistan. Thanks to the words of wisdom, he said thank you to the wrong country for inviting him to a major summit on the environment of all things. They fly for days to get there, and then he calls the country a name that was actually a country on another continent. And he's leading us to the brink of nuclear war, a concept unimaginable just 2 short years ago. You cannot mention the nuclear word. It's too devastating. The Green New Deal and the environment, which they say may affect us in 300 years, is all that is talked about. And yet nuclear weapons, which would destroy the world immediately, are never even discussed as a major threat. Can you imagine? They say the ocean will rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 200 to 300 years. But don't worry about nuclear weapons that can take out entire countries with one shot. Something is wrong with their thinking. Under Biden and the radical Democrats, America has been mocked, derided, and brought to its knees, perhaps like never before. But we are here tonight to declare that it does not have to be this way. It does not have to be this way. Two years ago, we were a great nation, and soon we will be a great nation again. The decline of America is being forced upon us by Biden and the radical left lunatics running our government right into the ground. This decline is not a fate we must accept. When given the choice, boldly, clearly, and directly, I believe the American people will overwhelmingly reject the left's platform of national ruin, and they will embrace our platform of national greatness and glory to America. Glory. Exactly 1 week ago, our citizens voted in the important midterm elections And despite a ridiculously long and unnecessary period of waiting, far longer, in fact, than any third world country, just a short time ago, the Republicans won back control of the House of Representatives. And it was with a great Trump-endorsed candidate, Congressman-elect Kevin Kiley, who is a fantastic person, And I'm very happy it was his vote that did it. But we now won back. This happened just an hour ago. Much criticism is being placed on the fact that the Republican Party should have done better. And frankly, much of this blame is correct. But the citizens of our country have not yet realized the full extent and gravity of the pain our nation is going through. And the total effect of the suffering is just starting to take hold. They don't quite feel it yet, but they will very soon. I have no doubt that by 2024, it will sadly be much worse, and they will see much more clearly what happened and what is happening to our country, and the voting will be much different. 2024. Are you getting ready? And I am too. I do want to point out that in the midterms, my endorsement success rate was 232 wins and only 22 losses. You don't hear that from the media. And this is an elegant night and an elegant place, and I'm not going to use the term fake news media. So we're going to keep it very elegant. But you don't hear that from the media, but I think you will, because people are starting to see what happened. That's some score, and in the primaries was 98.6%, but they were still trying to blame me. And the reason for the success and that unprecedented success rate is that the Trump administration changed our nation on trade, on securing the border. We're the strongest, safest border ever in the history of our country. On Islamic terrorism, we had practically, just about, not that I can think of, no Islamic attacks, terrorist attacks during the Trump administration. And in fact, we got along very well with the various countries, including coming up with the Abraham Accords. It's a great thing, the Abraham Accords. But it's because of cutting taxes and cutting regulations at the highest level ever, and on building the greatest economy. Any time in the history of the world, there's never been an economy like we had just 2 years ago. Despite the outcome in the Senate, we cannot lose hope. And we must all work very hard for a gentleman and a great person named Herschel Walker, a fabulous human being who loves our country and will be a great United States Senator. Herschel Walker, get out and vote for Herschel, and he deserves it. He was an incredible athlete. He'll be an even better senator. Get out and vote for Herschel Walker. We elected a group of incredibly talented America First leaders who will be stars of our party for many years to come. In the popular vote, another thing that's not discussed for the House, we must remember that Republicans won 5 million more votes, the largest margin in many, many years, over the Democrats. 5 million more votes, that's a big thing. Breaking the radical Democrats' grip on Congress was crucial. So in other words, because of our great congressmen and all of our great congressmen and congresswomen, we have taken over Congress. Nancy Pelosi has been fired. Isn't that nice? I told them, I said, if you just keep a little bit lower standard, you're going to have a big victory. They said, let's win by 40 seats. Let's win by 50. I said, if you win by 2 seats, be happy. But she's on her way to another country right now. She's been fired. But we always have known that this was not the end. It was only the beginning of our fight to rescue the American dream. And it's a word you don't use, 2 words. I don't want to be Joe. It's 2 words, American dream. That was not good what he did. There are a lot of bad things, like going to Idaho and saying, welcome to the state of Florida. I really love it. In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Let's go. Let's go.
Thank you, kids. Thank you. All of you. Thank you. Thank you. So many incredible friends and family here tonight. It's such a beautiful thing. Some people say, how do you speak before so many people all the time? When there's love in the room, it's really easy, if you want to know the truth. It really is. You ought to try it sometime. Together, we will be taking on the most corrupt forces and entrenched interests imaginable. Our country is in a horrible state. We're in grave trouble. This is not a task for a politician or a conventional candidate. This is a task for a great movement that embodies the courage, confidence, and the spirit of the American people. This is a movement. This is not for any one individual. This is a job for tens of millions of proud people working together from all across the land and from all walks of life, young and old, black and white, Hispanic and Asian, many of whom we have brought together for the very, very first time. If you look at the numbers, if you look at what's happened with Hispanic, with African American, with Asian, and just look at what's happening. This is a party that has become much bigger, much stronger, much more powerful, can do much more good for our country. This is a job for grandmothers and construction workers, firefighters, builders, teachers, doctors, and farmers who cannot stay quiet any longer. You can't stay quiet any longer. You're angry about what's happening to our country. Our country is being destroyed before your very eyes. It's a job for every aspiring young person and every hard-working parent, for every entrepreneur and underappreciated police officer who is ready to shout for safety in America. The police are being treated so badly. These are great people. They can straighten out the crime. They're the ones that know how to do it. We have to give them back their respect and their dignity. This will not be my campaign. This will be our campaign all together. Because the only force strong enough to defeat the massive corruption we are up against is you, the American people. It's true. The American people, the greatest people on earth, we love them all. And we love both sides. We're going to bring people together. We're going to unify people. And it was happening in the previous administration, previous to the previous. And what was bringing them together was success. Prior to COVID coming in, the people were calling me, you wouldn't believe it. People that were so far left, I figured they'd never speak to me and I would never speak to them. But our success was so incredible, like never before. And then COVID started coming in from China. We call it the China virus. Some people call it other things, but it was devastating and we built it back and did an incredible job. But when people say Republicans or Democrats,
Oh, no.
or liberals or conservatives, I say we can all get together. And we were doing that. That was happening just prior, because the success was greater than this country has ever had. We were leapfrogging China and leapfrogging everybody else, and everybody wanted a piece of it. But just as I promised in 2016, I am your voice. I am your voice. The Washington establishment wants to silence us, but we will not let them do that. What we have built together over the past 6 years is the greatest movement in history, because it is not about politics. It's about our love for this great country, America, and we're not going to let it fail. I am running because I believe the world has not yet seen the true glory of what this nation can be. We have not reached that pinnacle, believe it or not. In fact, we can go very far. We're going to have to go far. First, we have to get out of this ditch. And once we're out, you'll see things that nobody imagined for any country. It's called the United States of America, and it's an incredible place. We are Americans, and we do not have to endure what has taken place in Washington, D.C. This is our country, our government, and the corridors of power, they're our corridors. They're not their corridors. These are our corridors. And we are coming to take those corridors back. So from now until Election Day in 2024, which will come very quickly, we'll go, look at how time flies. Look how fast it's all going. I will fight like no one has ever fought before. We will defeat the radical left Democrats that are trying to destroy our country from within, and likewise protect us all. We want to protect us. We have to be protected from all of those nations out there that are looking to destroy us from beyond our shores. There are lots of nations that hate us gravely. And that's the problem. When they look at us in disarray like we are right now, when we go to them begging for oil and we have more liquid gold under our feet than they have or any other nation has, and we don't use it because we're going to them, it's crazy what's happening. We can't let it continue. Joe Biden is the face of left-wing failure and Washington corruption. He had a big G20 dinner tonight. Everybody flew over to wherever they flew over, and guess what? He never showed up. They're still looking for him. What's going on? G20, I used to love that. The leaders, they used to make deals for our country like you wouldn't believe. It was one, give me the next one, give me the next one. And we got them to stop taking advantage of our country. Every nation took advantage of our country. We renegotiated deals with Mexico and Canada, USMCA. We got rid of the worst trade deal ever made. NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. That's why the farmers love Trump, because we did a great job, but manufacturers also. And we did a deal, we restructured our terrible deal with Japan, and I did it with Prime Minister Abe, a great man who unfortunately is so sad. He was a great friend of mine, but a great man, loved his country so much, but we restructured and made it a really terrific deal, and with South Korea and so many other countries. And the best of all was what we did to China. We made an incredible deal, but after COVID, I don't even bother talking about it because the devastation that caused for the entire world was too much to bear. I will ensure that Joe Biden does not receive 4 more years in 2020. Can't do it. Our country could not take that. And I say that not in laughter. I say that in tears. Our country could not take 4 more years. It can only take so much. It's all very fragile to start off with. It can only take so much. In 2020, I received the largest number of votes of any sitting president in history by a lot. And we will do it again, but with even more votes this time. Many have noted that huge gains we have made with Latino voters, and I believe we will set even greater records with this crucial vote in 2024. The Hispanic voter, the Latino voter, has been Unbelievable. Great people, very entrepreneurial people, and they want security. And everyone thought when I did the wall, I built the wall, and they thought, oh, that would hurt me with the Hispanic vote. No, it helped me because they understood. They wanted safety. They wanted security. And they understood the border better than anybody else. So they were amazed that we started that trend, and now we're continuing with that trend. You look at what we've done in Florida, what everybody's doing now in Florida and Texas, along the border in Texas, won every single community. I won every single community. Governor of Texas called. Great gentleman, just got reelected. And he said to me, I'd like to talk to you for a second. Well, he said, you've done something that nobody else has done. You've won every single area along the borders, the longest since Reconstruction. I said, Reconstruction? I guess you call that the Civil War? That's what I call it? That's what I call it. Governor Abbott, very good man, and he's working hard, but it's horrible because what's happening is they're just sending hundreds of thousands of people right through his state, right through Arizona, right through all of the states. What's happening is they're coming up all of the states. And we can't have it anymore. This campaign will be about issues, vision, and success. And we will not stop. We will not quit until we've achieved the highest goals and made our country greater than it has ever been before. And we can do that. We can do it. Our victory will be built upon big ideas, bold ambitions, and daring dreams for America's future. We need daring dreams. It is not enough merely to complain or oppose. We don't want to be critics. We don't want to be complainers. I never wanted to be a critic. I never respected critics. They tell people what's wrong, but they can't do it themselves. We will win because we will fight with every measure of our strength and with every ounce of our energy to lift up the working men and working women of America and to restore the fabric of this nation. The radical left Democrats have embraced an extreme ideology of government domination and control. Our approach is the opposite, one based on freedom, values, individual responsibility, and just plain common sense. It's common sense. In 2 years, the Biden administration has destroyed the U.S. economy, just destroyed it. With victory, we will again build the greatest economy ever. It will take place quickly. We will build the greatest economy ever. And if you remember, I did it twice. I did it before COVID and then handed off something where the stock market was higher than just prior to COVID coming in. And we did it twice, and we will do it again, but this time we'll do it bigger, stronger, better than anybody can even imagine. And one of the beautiful things of the pause, if there is such a thing as a beautiful thing, but one of the important factors of the pause is that we see how bad they've done. So we will be able to do it properly, and it will be much easier. Everybody will agree with us because everybody sees what a bad job has been done during this 2-year period, and it will be a 4-year period. Everybody sees that. It will be much easier for us to do what has to be done. We will immediately tackle inflation and bring down to a level that it was, we were at 0, but actually the best number is 1%. Do you know that? You don't want it really 0, but we were at 0. We actually got it to exactly 1%, the perfect number. One thing every economist agrees, don't have it 0, have it like at 1%. They even say 1 to 2, but I said, let's do 1. And we had it at 1%, and we had it there for a long period of time, and we had the value of the dollar. We had it so that this country could make a lot of money. And I fought other countries where they devalued their dollar, they devalued their currency, whether it was the pound or whether it was the yuan or the yen. And I used to fight like cats and dogs with the leaders of other countries because they were stealing from us. When they did that, they had artificial devaluations of their currency. It's a very important thing. I haven't even heard it mentioned in 2 years. That's a very important thing. It's very hard for us to compete when they do that artificially. And they had to pay a big price when they did it. And they never really did it for very long. I said, we're not going to do business with you anymore as a country. And they believed me. And they let it go back up. Instead of putting America last, as the Biden administration has done very, very openly and bravely, because I can't imagine saying, let's put America last. I think it takes courage. We will again put America first. Every policy. Thank you very much. We do love our country, isn't it? That's why we're here. I didn't need this. I had a very nice, easy life. This is something I didn't need, and a lot of you people don't need either, but we love our country. We have to take care of our country. We have to save our country. Every policy must be geared toward that which supports the American worker, the American family, and businesses, both large and small, and allows our country to compete with other nations on a very level playing field, which we never had until I came along and the Trump administration came along. And now we're losing it. They're moving back into China. They're moving back into these other countries. It's horrible. That means low taxes, low regulations, and fair trade, much of which I've already completed, but now will even greatly enhance. Other countries should pay for the privilege of coming into the American marketplace. They have to pay to come into our country and make all of that money, take it away from us. And thanks to the Trump administration, still the best and the biggest country in the world is what we have. We have the best and the biggest. If you remember, for many years, you can look in your projection books, China was going to take over from us as the largest economy in the world in 2018 or 2019. I said, I don't like that timing. And I was with President Xi, who's now president for life. I call him king. He said, no, I'm not the king. I said, yes, you are the king. You're president for life. It's the same thing. But I said, President, you can't do these things. You can't. Remember, they had China 25. That means China was going to take over virtually the whole world economy by 25. I said, that's not a nice sign. I don't want that sign. They took it down. They took down the whole slogan. Probably will be coming back at some point in the near future. But I found it very insulting. I said, I find that very insulting. On day one, we will end Joe Biden's war on American energy. And you will see, when that happens, you will see energy costs come down. And because energy is so big and so important, you will see inflation dropping. You will see it come down. It's a thing of beauty. And you wouldn't think it's that complicated. Now, what has been complicated a little bit is what's happened to so many other things. I believe originally started by this energy disaster. We were $1.87 a gallon for gasoline, and now it's hitting $5, $6, $7, and even $8, and it's going to go really bad. The socialist disaster known as the Green New Deal, which is destroying our country, and the many crippling regulations that it has spawned, will be immediately terminated so that our country can again breathe and grow and thrive like it should. It's very, very much hurting our country. Germany tried it, Germany tried it. They were up for about a year. Remember I sent to Angela, remember Angela? Do you remember Angela? Nobody's remembering her now. Angela Merkel, I sent her a white flag of surrender. She said, but why do you send this to me, Donald? I said, Angela, I send it to you because this is a flag of surrender. You are getting 78% of your energy from Russia. And when that happens, history has proven that it's not good for Germany. Just take a look over the last 150 years. It hasn't been good. What I didn't know would take place so fast. And Germany closed, as you know, all of its coal-powered plants and its nuclear plants. They closed everything, and now they're building coal plants. and they're building them fast. And China's building a coal plant every week. Every week they open up another, and then they talk about all of the things that they do environmentally. They are watching us die with the Green New Deal, with our windmills and with our solar that doesn't have the power to fire up our great factories and our great plants. They are watching us die, and they're laughing as it happens. Remember, economic security is national security, and that's what it is. We need economic security. That is why we will launch an all-out campaign to eliminate America's dependence on China. We will bring our supply chains, which are a disaster right now. You can't get anything, and good luck getting a turkey for Thanksgiving. Number one, you won't get it, and if you do, you're going to pay 3 to 4 times more than you paid last year. But we will bring our supply chains and manufacturing base back home, as we were strongly doing during the Trump administration, and we will systematically bring back wealth, health, and success to the American middle class and to America itself. Please. Yeah, please sit down. I feel so guilty having you stand. No. No, you've been standing for the whole event. I feel very guilty. I don't want that to happen. To every worker and family struggling to survive in the Biden economy with inflation destroying your family and your life, this campaign will be for you. Help is on the way. Joe Biden has abolished America's borders. We are going to restore and secure America's borders just like we had them before, best ever. We built the wall, and now we will add to it. Now, we built the wall, we completed the wall, and then we said, let's do more, and we did a lot more. And as we were doing it, we had an election that came up, and when they came in, they had 3 more weeks to complete the additions to the wall, which would have been great, and they said, no, we're not going to do that. And that's when I realized that they actually want to have this disaster known as open borders. Hard to believe, isn't it? But one of the reasons we had so much success at the border was because of the fact that 2 things. We got Mexico to give us free of charge 28,000 soldiers. That helps. And President of Mexico is a great gentleman, by the way. Socialist, but that's okay. He can't have everything. But he's a great man and a great friend of mine. But 28,000 soldiers while we were building the wall. And then when the wall was finished, that's how we set all these records. We have records that nobody can even compete with. Right now, it's a disaster. I believe it's 10 million people coming in, not 3 or 4 million people. They're pouring into our country. We have no idea who they are and where they come from. We have no idea what's happening to our country. We're being poisoned. Within moments of my inauguration, catch and release will be gone forever. Remain in Mexico. Remain in Mexico, which was so important. Everybody came in here, they remained here, and they never left. And you couldn't get them, you couldn't find them. I had a policy, remain in Mexico. And if you think it was easy for me to get the president of Mexico to agree to that, it wasn't, but we got it. And they terminated it, can you believe? So now they come in here, they stay, and we have no idea where they are. They get lost. And it's very dangerous for our country. And again, I'll say, we're going to pay a big price someday for what they're doing. We will begin the process of safely removing the illegal alien criminals that have been unlawfully allowed into our country. We have no choice. We have no choice. And in restoring border security, we will stop the flow of deadly drugs and horrible human trafficking, which both have been set upon us like never before. The human trafficking, you think of it as an ancient thing. It's not ancient. Because of the internet, human trafficking is worse than it's ever been in history. And we stop them at the southern border, which is the #1 port all over the world, the southern border. So much comes through the southern border. #1 port, and we stopped them, and now it's at levels that are many, many, many times what it was just 2 years ago. Biden and the radical left had let loose on this total breakdown of law and order. It was a total breakdown of law and order. I will restore public safety in American cities and other communities that need our help. And if they don't want our help, we're going to insist that they take our help this time. Because, you know, the Democrat governors, these are all Democrat cities. The governors and mayors are supposed to ask for the help, and they would never ask for the help. And yet people are being shot and killed at random like nobody's ever seen before. And we sent in the National Guard in Minneapolis and in other places. In Seattle, we went and we were getting ready to go, and they took over part of the city. And the governors, the Democrats, don't want to ever ask to do anything because they don't want to shake things up. In the meantime, the cities are rotting, and they are indeed cesspools of blood. So we're going to go and help them even if they don't want the help. We will give our police back their authority, resources, power, legal protection, and we will give them back their respect. They're great people. And I will immediately launch a no-holds-barred national campaign to dismantle the gangs and clean out the nests of organized street crime. You know, the worst criminals, the worst gangs are MS-13. And under the Barack Hussein Obama administration, they were unable to take them out because their countries where they came from wouldn't take them. And I learned about that in my first day, I actually say. But I learned about it, and I said, which countries? And it was Honduras and Guatemala. It was El Salvador, some others. And I said, how much do we pay them? Sir, you pay them $750 million a year. That's a lot of money. I said, all right, stop payment. We're not paying them anymore because they wouldn't accept them. They would put planes on the runway. So when our plane would come out with these gang members from MS-13, the plane couldn't land because other planes were on the runway. The buses weren't allowed to get through their borders because they had stronger borders than we did by far. They had borders. We don't have borders. They had borders. Other countries that we defend have borders. We defend other countries' borders, but we don't defend our own. But these countries, and I got to know all of the presidents and prime ministers. I got to know them all. And I said, all right, stop payment of the $750 million a year. They won't take them. And you could not get anybody back in because they sent them out. They didn't just come out. They sent them out. They don't want the bad ones. They want to keep their good ones. They don't want the bad ones. These are gang members that will kill, and they like using knives because a knife is more painful than a gun. You've read the stories. MS-13. These are savages. They say, oh, please don't use that name. They're people. No, they're not. These are savages. And so we went along, and I said, stop payment of the $750 million. And I get a call the next morning from the presidents of every country that we're talking about. Sir, there seems to be a misunderstanding. What's the problem? Is there anything we can do? Yeah, you're not taking your MS-13 gang members back that you sent to us. In the caravans, I love the name. I came up with it. I love the name. The caravans, thousands and thousands of people. And in those caravans, you have some rough people. I said, you're not taking them back. Well, we didn't know that this was a problem, sir. Is there anything we could do? I said, yeah, take them back. We would be glad to take them back, sir. They took them back. I still didn't give them the 750, but that's okay. And by the way, now Biden wants to give them $4 billion. They were happy with 750, and now they want to give them $4 billion. Somebody someday is going to explain that one to me. It actually makes you rage with anger when you hear that. They wanted 750 so badly, and now they're getting $4 billion. We will wage war upon the cartels and stop the fentanyl and deadly drugs from killing 200,000 Americans per year. And I will ask Congress for legislation ensuring that drug dealers and human traffickers, these are terrible, terrible, horrible people who are responsible for death, carnage, and crime all over our country. Every drug dealer during his or her life on average will kill 500 people with the drugs they sell, not to mention the destruction of families. But we're going to be asking everyone who sells drugs, gets caught selling drugs, to receive the death penalty for their heinous acts, because it's the only way. We don't need any more blue ribbon committees. We don't need, I don't like to say this, and I don't even know if the American public is ready for it. And a lot of my people say, please don't say that, sir. That's not nice. They kill 500 people each on average. And if you don't do this, in China, when I was with President Xi, I said, President, do you have a drug problem? No, 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 we don't. He looked at me like I didn't know what I was doing. He said, no, we don't have a drug. How come you don't have a drug problem? He said, quick trial. What is a quick trial? I sort of knew. What is a quick trial? That's where if you get caught dealing drugs, you have an immediate and quick trial, and by the end of the day, you're executed. That's a terrible thing. But they have no drug problem. The only drug problem they have is they make the fentanyl that comes into our country, and I had him stopping it. And then when I was gone, nobody ever mentioned it to him again. We were stopping it. That was way down, that number, but they send it in. But they don't have a drug problem. Other countries like Singapore has no drug problem, no drug. You ask them, they don't even know what you're talking about when they say drug problem. They don't even know what you're talking about. They have no drug problem. Now, why should they sell there and risk their lives every time they sell when they can come to the United States and nobody even cares? They can do whatever they want to do and become rich. It's a disgrace. So if you want to get rid of that and also bring down your level of crime, probably 75 or 80%, that's the only answer. No more blue ribbon. I refuse to create them anymore. They were just a joke. It was New York people wanting to be on a committee for publicity reasons. No more blue ribbon committees. That's the only way you're going to solve the problem. And I hope politicians are listening because they should do it quickly. Joe Biden has also proven that he is committed to indoctrinating our children, even using the Department of Justice against parents who object. It's a terrible thing that's happening. It's so sad what's happening. When I'm in the White House, our schools will cease pushing critical race theory as they were. Radical civics and gender insanity. Or if they do that, they will lose all federal funding, but we'll get them to stop. And I will be the president who finally fixes education in America. We were doing great. We were starting to really get it right. We will not let men, as an example, participate in women's sports. Is that okay? No men. No men. My people tell me, sir, that's politically incorrect to say. I said, that's okay, I'll say it anyway, if you don't mind. We've had tremendous problems, and you know, it's very unfair to women, just very, very unfair. We will defend the rights of parents, and we will defend the family as the center of American life. But who would think, standing up here, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that a politician, and I don't like to think of myself as a politician, but I guess that's what I am. I hate that thought. But that a politician would be up saying, we will defend parental rights. Of course you're going to defend it. Who would think that we even have to mention this? Who would think it even should be a subject to be talked about? We have to defend parental rights. Can you believe this? As commander-in-chief, I will get Biden's radical left ideology out of our military, and I did. And in the first day, they put it back. They signed an executive order, and they put it back. It was gone. We will abolish every Biden COVID mandate and rehire every patriot who was fired from our military with an apology and full back pay. Thank you. And they deserve an apology, and they deserve full back pay, and they'll get it. And unlike Biden possibly getting us into World War III, which can seriously happen, I will keep America out of foolish and unnecessary foreign wars, just as I did for 4 straight years. We will again have peace through strength. That's all it is. As events overseas have shown, to protect our people from the unthinkable threat of nuclear weapons and hypersonic missiles, the United States must also build a state-of-the-art, next-generation missile defense shield. We need it. the power of these missiles and the power of a word that I refuse to say, nuclear. We have to have it. We need a defense shield, and we have to do it. And we actually have the technology, and we're going to build it. Just as I rebuilt our military, I will get this done. I rebuilt our entire military, which nobody talks about. When I got there, we had jet fighters that were 48 years old. We had bombers that were 60 years old. We had bombers where their grandfathers flew them when they were new. And now the grandchild is flying the bomber, but not anymore. But as I've said before, the gravest threats to our civilization are not from abroad, but from within. None is greater than the weaponization of the justice system, the FBI and the DOJ. We must conduct a top-to-bottom overhaul to clean out the festering rot and corruption of Washington, D.C. Thank you. And I'm a victim, I will tell you. I'm a victim. Think of it. The FBI offered $1 million to Christopher Steele, who wrote the fake dossier, if he will lie and say that the fake dossier was true. And he refused to do it, so it had to be really fake. And then they hired somebody, Demchenko, for $200,000 a year to focus on Trump and to get Trump and other things, including the raid of a very beautiful house that sits right here. The raid of Mar-a-Lago, think of it. And I said, why didn't you raid Bush's place? Why didn't you raid Clinton? 32,000 emails. Why didn't you raid Clinton's place? Why didn't you do Obama, who took a lot of things with him? We will dismantle the deep state and restore government by the people. To further drain the swamp, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. It's time. It's time.
Wow, I've never heard that.
And I will ask for a permanent ban on taxpayer funding of campaigns, a lifetime ban on lobbying by former members of Congress and cabinet members. No, I see what they make. They leave the White House or they leave Congress and they're paid millions and millions and millions of dollars a year. No, you have to have a ban. We want a ban on members of Congress getting rich by trading stocks with insider information. And many of our great members agree with that. They actually agree with that. And of course, we will do whatever it takes to bring back honesty, confidence, and trust in our elections. To eliminate cheating, I will immediately demand voter ID, same-day voting, and only paper ballots. Only paper ballots. France just had an election. 36 million people voted. It was all done by 10 o'clock in the evening. No complaints. You had a winner, you had a loser. The loser went home. The winner, he's a friend of mine, nice guy. But he was happy. But there was no complaints. And if there is a complaint, you check it out and you can fix it very easily. You can find out what's going on. No, paper ballots, same-day voting, voter ID. So simple. And we want all votes counted by election night. They spend all of the money for machines and all of this stuff, and they end up 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. By that time, everyone forgot there was even an election. It's horrible. And this doesn't happen. I said it before. It doesn't happen in third world countries. They do better than we do. It's horrible what's happening with our election and election process. And I'll get that job done. That's a very personal job for me. I take that very personally. But this is just the beginning of our national greatness agenda. And that's what we call it, a national greatness agenda, because our country can be greater than it ever was. Our country was great. Our country's not great anymore. Our country's a laughingstock right now. But our country can be greater than it ever was before, by a lot. There will be more, much more to come in the months ahead. There are so many things we can do. Many of them are not even hard to implement. The journey ahead of us will not be easy. Anyone who truly seeks to take on this rigged and corrupt system will be faced with a storm of fire that only a few could understand, right? I happen to have some children in the front row. They understand. In fact, my one boy, stand up, Eric. I think he got more subpoenas than any man in the history of our country. So unfair. Al Capone, you all heard of the great gangster? Al Capone got far less. Billy the Kid got almost none. Jesse James, no. Eric Trump got more subpoenas. He's a PhD in subpoenas. They come from Congress. And I appreciate the job you do and the abuse that you've taken. I really do. And it hasn't been a joyride for our great First Lady either. It hasn't been a joyride. Stand up, honey. I go home and she says, they do love her. I go home and she says, you look angry and upset. I say, just leave me alone. Hasn't been the easiest thing, but she's been a great First Lady and people love her. We will be resisted by the combined forces of the establishment, the media, the special interests, the globalists, the Marxist radicals, the woke corporations, the weaponized power of the federal government, the colossal political machines, the tidal wave of dark money, and the most dangerous domestic censorship system ever created by man or woman, the most dangerous system we've ever had. We will be attacked, we will be slandered, we will be persecuted just as I have been. I have been, but many people in this room have been. But we will not be intimidated. We will persevere. We will stand tall in the storm. We will march forward into the torrent. And we, in the end, will win. Our country will win. We will win. My fellow Americans, we will join together and reverse this staggering American decline, and it is staggering indeed. And we will again restore the spirit of our nation. And then we must build and raise up a legacy that will stand without equal in the entire history of the world. With your help, we will create communities where our children will grow up safe and strong, and a nation where they will grow up free, prosperous, and well. We will reestablish the principles of hard work and merit and end the scourge of homelessness that is plaguing our beleaguered Democrat-run cities. We will heal our divisions and bring our people back together through incredible success. We will defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We will expand the frontiers of human knowledge and extend the horizons of human achievement. And we will plant our beautiful American flag very soon on the surface of Mars, which I got started.
Wow.
But we need everyone involved. We need everyone's help. We need to look out for one another. We need to be friends. And we need every patriot on board. Because this is not just a campaign. This is a quest to save our country. Talking about saving our country. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am asking for your vote. I am asking for your support. And I am asking for your friendship and your prayers of this very incredible but dangerous journey. If our movement remains united and confident, then we will shatter the forces of tyranny and we will unleash the glories of liberty for ourselves and for our children and for generations yet to come. America's golden age is just ahead. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America glorious again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you.
Let's go. That's the speech. Donald J. Trump. My first takeaway from this speech is the tone was perfect. I just thought he hit the right notes. Wasn't too negative, wasn't too down. Ended up being positive. It was just a great job. The right tone for the moment. And I've been big. I know I'm not getting into this in this stream. But I do want to say my first thought was the drama stuff, it doesn't even play a factor right now, at least after this speech. That is how good it was. He addressed the drama earlier in the speech. I was taking a little bit of notes here. He said something to the effect of that it won't. I was watching Brandon Tatum and I was thinking the exact same thing because he and I don't agree on the Don Dada beef with DeSantis. And because I heard Brandon Tatum say something like, we need somebody presidential. And number one, I think Trump is presidential. He does do, crazy things, funny. You don't take that stuff seriously. Like what he said, Glenn Youngkin, it sounds Asian. Bruh, that wasn't it, bruh. But you don't take that seriously. And that's the type of stuff that got him to break through the noise. So you look at him, you're like, oh, who's this crazy guy saying all this stuff? And then you hear the substance there. But he did take the little acknowledgement was, he said something to the effect of, if we are going to overcome this one earth agenda, and after this, I'm going to get to the comments. I want to hear what you all think. If we're going to overcome it, it's not going to be in a traditional way. It's not going to be with a traditional candidate. That was a slight towards who. Corey says, right tone, yes. Woot. Biden slept all day. Man, in all serious, school the world. Thank you. Thank you, everybody stopping by. In all serious, I hope Brandon is okay. Because that's when you're going to this, I believe they're at COP 27 still, right? It's, man, I remember 26. I remember doing a video on 26. It's just, like Trump said, it goes by fast. But hopefully he's okay. I heard that he canceled all his events and maybe slept all day. I don't know what's going on, but it's because how he can barely walk. Because of looking at him, he can barely speak, he can barely walk. The big takeaway for me is he suitable? Can he run the country? And Trump just announced here, how long do you want Biden hanging around if you're on that side? Now, if you can get Fetterbot to become senator, if you can get Katie Hobbs to become governor of Arizona, I'm not going to even argue with what's legit. The process is untrustworthy. There's no argument there, but I don't have proof of anything else. If you can get them there, and they're there right now, if you can get them across the finish line, then you can get Kamala Harris across the finish line. I mean, Fetterbot can't. I mean, he literally can't complete a sentence. Katie Hobbs can barely complete a sentence. She's a terrible speaker. She has the amazing presence that you felt from Trump. Even his haters had to jump into the chat because they could feel the presence. They love it. They love the presence. They don't jump into the chat when they hear Mitch McConnell speaking, okay? It's when Trump is up there. So let's hear some more comments. I thought it was perfect. See, Jennifer, friend of show, always is so diplomatic and graceful. She says, DeSantis needs to keep Florida running strong. Jennifer, that's a nice way of saying he needs to keep his ass in Florida. So I say he's done a great job in Florida. Keep your ass there because this ain't for you. You can't deliver the message that we need. Trump is there. He is the face. Jennifer says it much better, much more elegantly. But when I see Donald Trump, for the people in the chat, and anybody who might come across this, and you wonder, like, what do you think about Donald Trump? He's said all this crazy stuff. He's kind of done all this stuff. He's had stuff in his life and marital issues and all that. Damn, who doesn't have marital issues? That's relatable. We aren't in normal times. That ain't gonna be something that I'm gonna stop me from voting for somebody. I don't know where you're at, but that is not gonna stop me at all. If you heard the speech and you look at Donald Trump, while I'm watching him do the speech, and I'm like, he is the conduit that got me to start my channel indirectly. It wasn't directly because of him, but because of him. He's the one. I mean, this might sound, and I know I'm going to get clowned for this one. You can clip this. He was kind of like the Morpheus. When he came up in 2016, he basically told you, and he didn't want to say it in the speech, he said, the media is fake. And when I first heard that, I literally thought he was just some numbskull. The media is fake? What are you talking about? They have integrity. I grew up watching Dan Rather and Ted Koppel and all these great people in the media. What is he talking about? And then they had to lie because his message was too strong. So then they had to lie about him. And then I had to take the red pill because when you lie to me, I need to know why. And when you start asking the questions why, it leads you down the path of, oh, I see. All Donald Trump is the conduit that got us in this chat, the conduit that got me to speak my voice. That's all he is. Don't look any deeper into that. He's not my boy. He's not my granddaddy. He's not my pastor. He's just the face of the movement, nothing more. So if you look at Trump, don't look at him. Look at the millions of people. Look at everybody in the chat in varying degrees, support or don't support him. We're here chatting due to him. I'm not doing this video for any old random. Mike Pence is going to announce. Maybe we do the video to laugh, to get a good laugh in. Let's see the great speech by Trump. Great. I don't know who wrote it. If somebody knows who wrote it, let me know. Just excellent, perfect. It focused. He put the focus on not him, on everybody. I really like that moment. It seemed like it was off the cuff when he said, this is easy when there's love in the room. You peep that line? And I've been saying that. I've been saying that MAGA, in my opinion, MAGA is love. It really is. It sounds corny, whatever. That's how I feel. And I'm not a dude that are really throwing that word around a lot. He was like, this is easy when you've got love in the room. That was dope. I don't think that was written. I think that was just natural. Man, what a speech. One of his best speeches for me. I know a lot of times you say that. I've said that multiple times, but his inauguration speech that was a hell of a speech. But this was good, man, because this is a tougher moment because the sequel is always harder than the original. And it's disjointed because of what happened in the past process. The Matrix 2 is not. I love the whole Matrix series. Every movie in the Matrix series is, well, I didn't even see the last one, but 1, 2, and 3 are all dope. But 1 was so good, 2 wasn't even half as good as 1, and 3 wasn't even a quarter as good as 1. But they were all dope. So my point is, it's hard to come back for that sequel. Vibe in the chat, man, the vibe in the chat was something else. Let's see what Jennifer is saying here. Jennifer says, I'm really mad at Elder for abandoning California after the recall. Is that after? I'm not familiar with that, Jennifer. Let me know what happened there. You're talking about the recall of Newsom? Did Larry Elder abandon California? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that one. Okay, somebody. Yeah, wow. So Fenwick was torn between Trump and DeSantis. If you follow the channel and the couple things I've done, I might have gone off the rails a little bit on Twitter. I had a tweet today, and even my wife was like, "What did you say?" No, my wife was like, "What did you?" Warning for mild language coming. I don't swear a lot, but this is what I tweeted. My wife saw it and was like, "Did you call DeSantis a bitch?" And she was like, "I thought you liked DeSantis." So I just give her a quick explanation. I said, "I like DeSantis for Florida," and then But my point is, I'm not on the fence, but Fenwick is on the fence and said, "That is the Trump I remember." Man, Fenwick, when you come in the chat, man, you drop bombs. You drop like truth bombs. Oh, he didn't run again. Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for him. That's probably a big deal to try to run for office, like mentally draining, all the speeches, all the begging for money. And I don't know. Really, why would Trump do it again? He mentioned it. He's like, I truly believe it. He's like, I don't need this. I actually believe that. Maybe you could call me a sucker on that one because you get power and fame and all that. And I think he's worried about his place in history. He doesn't want to be a one-termer. But he got nothing but problems. He had to announce as early as possible. We're right after the midterms. He was racing against indictment. It makes it much more difficult for them to indict him and to make it stick. But they're doing a lot of stuff for show. You saw with Giuliani that they, I believe, dropped the charges. Trump's from the chat here. We are hearing great feedback on the speech from Donald Trump in the chat. So it couldn't have gone any better. One of the best ones. I haven't heard that in a while. I heard clips on it because it bubbled up when the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire came at Trump, and I had played some clips. But that was a good speech. I do remember a little bit of it. He's had some really good speeches. This one it's the most recent, so it's the most in my memory. He started out touting his accomplishments. Basically, he was almost like, guess who's back, and don't forget. When you want to talk about what I accomplished in 4 years, and every single day of those 4 years under the threat of investigation, under the threat of impeachment. Do you know how many resources and political and how it keeps your staff busy and crazy and managing the news cycle, and you got to decide where to go, who to trust just on the impeachment stuff, not to mention everything else, not to mention the media corporations, everything else. when you take that into account, I don't want to make excuses. I don't make excuses for myself. So I'm not going to be making excuses for Trump. But that is what happened. And he did fight through that. Somebody in the chat, I'm sorry, I forget who exactly said it, was he didn't drain the swamp. Well, no, he did not drain the swamp. He had 4 years. Are we expecting him to drain the swamp in 4 years? He's never even held elected office before. He did write up, with the help of legal and all that stuff, the Schedule F. Google the Schedule F. I did a video on the channel. I forget what it's called. I don't know if I have Schedule F in the... It's probably called administrative state, something like that. I broke it all down, the whole thing. Not making excuses for him, but showing what he did, what happened. And Joe Biden came in and rescinded the Schedule F. The Schedule F would allow the administrative state is everybody under the appointees. They're hard to get rid of. It would have made it easier to get rid of them. More good vibes from the speech. Let the test begin. Traitors out. Thank you. I am that I am. I did. So we got some talk about Tulsi. So let me, opinionated drone. Appreciate it. Let me make sure I get this. Sorry, where'd it go? Okay. Opinionated drone says, I did like what Tulsi was saying in 2020 about ending regime change wars. I had a good little conversation with friend of show, Ray Studio. Shout out. He would have been on here, but he had to work. With Tulsi, I don't understand what her connection is with the One Earth government group. I don't know what her connection is, but I am going to judge her by her actions. And so far, she has done more for MAGA than Ron DeSantis has. So I don't know what you want me to do, what you want me to say. The right people are against her. She is no friend of the Clintons. So the right people are against her. I'm not saying that proves anything, but from her actions, I don't trust anybody, but from her actions, I don't have any reason to go after her even. I disagree with her in some things. I agree with her on some other things, but that's not her. She's stumped for Carrie Lake. I mean, she's stumped for Don Bolduc, who looks like he's more of a warmonger than I'm comfortable with, but she did more for MAGA than I think even Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis endorsed Joe O'Dea in Colorado. That's not MAGA. So it doesn't have to be MAGA if you're going to govern well, but it's different coming to the national stage. Good. Some more comments here. We've got the ticket that I've been throwing out there. I've been throwing out a couple tickets. But John Chisholm says, the more I think about it, the more I like Trump Lake ticket. I believe she has what it takes. I almost want her to forget about Arizona and go do that. And I don't know how early normally. Obviously, you don't announce who your running mate is early normally. But I think Trump should just... Even Carrie Lake has the skills to be like press secretary, but obviously she has the talent well beyond that. I would absolutely support Carrie Lake for vice president. As of right now, that's who my choice would be. It would be Carrie Lake, no doubt. There's nobody who articulates this movement right now better. I know Marjorie Taylor Greene would get into her feelings a little bit. MTG, I think most of us on the channel love MTG. She's going a little sideways on this Kevin McCarthy stuff. I don't know if you heard that. So I do have a red flag there. I don't know what's going on. There was reports that she met with Kevin McCarthy for 45 minutes. I don't know why that leaked. That sounds like some old AOC stuff. I'm not calling her that at all. I'm just watching it. My eyes are open because believe it or not, I used to like AOC. She turned out to be a fake populist. I do not believe that about Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I am, when you start to say, hey, Kevin McCarthy, we need to rally around him, then I'm starting to look at you like, are you who I thought you were? I don't know what's happening right now. The whole America First caucus is all rallying from Biggs to Gates to Gosar. And then the leader of the pack is like, we got to rally around Kevin McCarthy for subpoena power. She said for subpoena power. Maybe there's something I don't know about how things work. You're going to have to do a video, MTG. You might have to explain that one. But Trump, Lake, and the media will jump over backwards, reeing about let me stop. And yeah, they will. You know, that's great. Two people who are forceful yet graceful in their own ways. Trump is more of a bull in a china shop. Carrie Lake's more of like I would say like a samurai assassin. Like she will finish you but do it in the most graceful way. Jennifer from Sweet Home, California says, I think MTG hasn't been on any committees this whole time and sold herself to McCarthy to get her picks. She was going to get on committees anyway. So I think, great point by Jennifer. I wonder if MTG's worried about them picking a moderate, which it looks like it's going to be just a different, well, I wouldn't even call Kevin McCarthy as a corporatist. I think when I say moderate in this aspect of talking about Speaker of the House, I'm talking about someone who will be MAGA friendly and not. Kevin McCarthy is anti-MAGA. So somebody who will help work with MAGA a little bit, but then also work with the corporate group and everybody else in between. So MTG's worried about if they pick, I don't know who that would be. What name would be like that moderate? I don't know. But if they pick a moderate like that, not Jim Jordan. I think MTG would be fine if Jim Jordan could get it. I don't think Jim Jordan can get it. Matt Gaetz said that on with Charlie Kirk. So MTG's like, if I can make a deal with Kevin McCarthy, then let's just go with what I know, the devil that I know. I understand what she's doing, but there has to be consequences. There has to be political retaliation for what happened in the midterms, MTG. You know this. I feel like saying, you know this, man. MTG, I know where you're going, but I can't go there with you. Thank you, Sweet Home, California. We're going to have to link up and do a video. So much perspective that she can provide. The no-brainer and friend of show, Ray Studios, is going to do a shirt. If he doesn't have it already, Biden Fetterman. It's a no-brainer. Why y'all have jokes today? School of the World says the same thing. I think MTG may have made a dealio, just a little dealio under the table. Nah, don't make those dealios with those people. That ain't gonna work for me. No, that's a hard no. They have to be able to put their foot down and say, I don't care if a Democrat becomes speaker. Don't act like Kevin McCarthy is better than a Democrat. Don't act like that. He is one. If you view him as a Democrat, then you move into this with no fear. It's just an arbitrary label of R that he has, but he is no different than a Nancy Pelosi. Now, he'll play the game because he knows he has to, but he's no different to me. Ooh, gee, I hope this isn't true. Oh, Luke did the shirt already? But you know what? He doesn't have any copyright to it. I'm not going to copy it, but I know Ray was talking about that from a while back. It's interesting. I'll go with this. GB, do they have dirt on MTG? I hope not. But you're right. It could be. Who knows? School of the World. When Matt speaks, I start thinking more and more Matt for speaker myself. I'd like to have those really good. So the problem is if he's speaker, I think he's going to be too caught up in the minutia of running Congress. But Nancy Pelosi, I don't know who she gave the duties to, but if you watched a lot of how Congress ran, it was always some other random person running it. Nancy Pelosi only really ran it when it was like something television worthy. But I'm going to say no for Matt Gaetz. He would be great as speaker, but I don't know if he has the clout with enough people. And I would rather him to be free to do other things. Really, Jim Jordan, nobody's perfect. Jim Jordan has these ties with Google or whatever, but I know a lot of people won't agree with this, but Matt Gaetz himself threw out Tulsi Gabbard. I might have that video. I clipped it. I was going to do a little short with it, but I never did. I posted it on Twitter, I think. I actually posted on Twitter. You might not believe me if you don't see this. Matt Gaetz was on with Charlie Kirk, and he was amazing in that segment. I got it right here. Let me show it real quick. This is believe it or not, this is Matt Gaetz, and this is MAGA communism. this is it. This is MAGA communism. I hope Jackson Hinkle saw this. I'm gonna have to try to DM him or something. So Matt Gaetz was unbelievable on with Charlie Kirk today. That was yesterday. In regards to Speaker of the House, it probably won't be GOP leader as Speaker. He's being very kind there. And probably won't be Jim Jordan. He's being very diplomatic and realistic. Let's listen to what Matt Gaetz had to say.
It's probably not going to be Kevin McCarthy as Speaker because there are 5 of us who would not want to see him. There's probably not going to be somebody like Jim Jordan, who I would prefer, because there are probably 5 people who don't like him. And so we've got to go down the list of the Republicans and see who can actually unite a conference. And then the hope is, with new leadership, with bold ideas, with everyone realizing that we have to be on the same team, we'll be able to lay out a vision and an agenda. And it might not be as aggressive as we originally thought, but it should be accomplishable. And we're about to go through that process starting tomorrow. It's probably not going to be Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, because
you know what that sounds like? It sounds like middle MAGA. Visit the website. Matt, you sound like you're middle MAGA. He was very realistic there. He wasn't selling a pipe dream. He said he said in the whole interview, he was very forceful. I didn't clip everything. He was basically like, Kevin McCarthy, it ain't happening. He was more forceful than in that clip. Like, he was like, it's not happening. So, but he didn't say, oh, it's going to be Jim Jordan, like I said, because he's looking at the votes and looking at everybody, and a lot of people in DC don't like Jim Jordan. So Matt Gaetz is like, okay, it's not Jim Jordan then. It's going to be someone we can all agree on. That's why I want populists in DC. That's the movement that Donald Trump started, is to bring in people like Matt Gaetz, Ron DeSantis, a governor, he didn't bring them in, but he started the movement that allowed for them to get in the door. Carrie Lakes, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert squeaked it out. But that's what a populist would do. A populist would work with other people. I've got my principles. I'd prefer Jim Jordan, but that's not realistic. That's not a real goal. So, okay, let's find someone that the America First Caucus can work with. Wouldn't be our ideal candidate, but someone we can work with and the corporatists can work with, because I don't even like saying that I'm anti-corporate. That's not the case. There has to be a balance. The corporate power has gotten out of control. We need the people power. That's what the Donald Trump speech was about. And that's what Matt Gaetz is saying. We'll work with the corporate ones. You got to give us something. We'll give you something. But it ain't going to be Kevin McCarthy, though. That's non-negotiable. He's out of here. He's gone. Because we know it's his fault more than anybody, and Mitch McConnell and the other big names in the funding structure of the Republican Party. It's their fault. They sabotaged good candidates. Matt Gaetz he named names. He was great in that interview. Let me play the part about Tulsi. You might not believe this one. You won't believe this if you didn't see this. Matt Gaetz suggested that Tulsi Gabbard would have enough votes to get Speaker of the House. Just listen to it. You don't have to you don't have to agree with it. It's not likely to happen, but let me tell you why this is important.
Now, on the outside, there are also some creative choices. I've heard the name Tulsi Gabbard, someone who might actually bring us a few folks from the left who are tired of the corrupt ruling class in this town. Now,
that is what a true populist would do. If AOC, I talk about all the time, if AOC were a true populist, she would say, hey, I'm okay with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz. I'm okay with working with them. Why wouldn't I work with them? We would agree on anti-war, for example. And Matt Gaetz is saying, I think, he said it in the interview, he might be wrong, but he said he thinks, so he's basically saying there's a minimum of 5 votes that Matt Gaetz has. So if you have 5 people voting together, this is force the vote part 2. We're here again, but they're actually doing it. Is anybody watching Jimmy Dore? Is Jimmy Dore talking about this? I hope Jimmy, I hope you're talking about this. This is exactly what you wanted the populist left to do a year ago, and they didn't do it. And the populist right, it's November. It's a week after the election, and they're already talking about it. When forced to vote happened, none of the populists left was talking about it. Jimmy Dore started it, and then they kind of addressed it. So Matt Gaetz is saying we have votes. He's saying that they have more than 5 votes, but we have at least 5 votes. So we have 5 people who are not going to vote for Kevin McCarthy. So it's over. It's done. It's not going to be Kevin McCarthy. So it's a game of chicken, because Kevin McCarthy might think, oh, you really think you have 5 votes? And this was the argument with Force the Vote, where they were actually, this is the most controversial thing to this day that's ever happened on the channel. Way before a lot of people were even following. Back in the Force the Vote days, I told people on the populist left, if you do the Force the Vote, it is absolutely possible. So the Force the Vote was to get Nancy Pelosi to vote on Medicare for all. It really, even a vote on it wasn't going to pass. It wasn't going to do anything. Destiny's right on that. But Jimmy Dore's point was, get something don't just vote for her to be speaker. She's not in the same party as you if you're really populist left. But my take was, yeah, I mean, there's a danger. I wasn't even trying to dwell on it. I was just saying it is a possibility that Kevin McCarthy could become speaker if you withhold your votes. And I don't know what's going on with the populist left. They're just so bizarre sometimes. It was factual. I broke it down with a spreadsheet. I showed them the votes, how it was possible. And for whatever reason, they didn't agree, but whatever. But you see on the populist right, they're openly talking about it. And I heard Biggs on with War Room today, and he was like, yeah, it is possible. Marjorie Taylor Greene said it's too much of a risk. Why? Because I forgot the name of the guy. One of the members of the House said he's going to go with the Democrats to vote for a Democrat speaker. It would have to be Hakeem Jeffries. I don't know who else they would prop up. He backtracked a little bit now, but the point is that if Matt Gaetz withholds the votes with his people, then Kevin McCarthy could get the votes elsewhere, or even a Democrat could get the votes, could just get the votes, period, to become speaker, even though they have the minority. So Kevin McCarthy might say, I don't think y'all are being real right now. He could say, I don't think y'all are being serious right now. I mean, this is poker. I don't think you have the hand that you think you have. So Matt Gaetz is putting in his bets. And Kevin McCarthy could say, he could look at his face and say, you ain't about this life. Because if you don't vote for me, then a Democrat could become speaker, and then I'll blame it on you. Matt Gaetz in the interview with Charlie Kirk even said, if that happens, I'm blaming it on Kevin. So Matt Gaetz, this is a game of chicken. I think Kevin McCarthy is going to say, I'm the pick. You guys, if you don't vote for me, then you're going to get a Democrat. I think that's what he's going to try to do. But ultimately, I think Matt Gaetz is being so reasonable, I think he's going to win. Hell of a discussion. That's the right discussion to be having right now. Perfect time to have it. McCarthy said that Ryan, what's up, Ryan? Friend of the show. Kevin McCarthy would vote with the Democrats to get their speaker in. Yeah, he would behind the scenes threaten that. I don't know what happened. They did a secret vote today. And the vote has to be secret because if Kevin McCarthy finds out who votes against him, he's going to use the power, his political power. And I don't know how they do the secret vote, but it's their job to know secrets. However they do the secret vote, I guarantee you, Kevin McCarthy is trying to find out so he can retaliate against anybody who voted no. He's a savage politician. That's why he was the last surviving young gun. He was the best young gun, Eric Cantor, Paul Ryan, establishment shills. But at one point, they were like the next and up and coming until the Tea Party came and wrecked them. Kind of similar to MAGA now wrecking or looking to wreck Kevin McCarthy. But that's how he was able to stay. He's a very good politician. Oh, thank you, GB. Appreciate you. Says great analysis. Mitch McConnell from GB says Mitch McConnell looks like a mega cucksucker. His handshake sucks. School of the World says, I'm thinking that the most Democrats probably hate Tulsi at this point. Oh yeah, the corporate. Yeah, Tulsi's a controversial one. You're right, School of the World. School of the World is, if I interpret this right, she's saying that Tulsi's not really a Democrat anymore. The populist left, they don't like her because the populist left is so, I just hate, and I'm sorry, y'all in the populist left. I love y'all. I really do. But y'all are just, sometimes y'all get on my nerves. I really get on my nerves. So for example, Tulsi goes on with, not all of them, but Tulsi goes on with Tucker Carlson. And just because she fills in for Tucker, goes on with Tucker, they try to take her populist card. Tucker is a populist too. Why would you take her card for, even if she were going to go on like Morning Joe? She went on Morning Joe famously back when she was running for president. They had a battle on there. It's to share your ideas. You should be happy. You should be asking, why aren't the other why is Tucker the only one giving her a platform? But you're right, School of the World. A lot of corporate Democrats don't like her because she got beef with the Clintons. And then a lot of the real populist left don't like her because she's not afraid to, go on Tucker. She's never changed her position on 2A or anything. She hasn't talked about Medicare for all in a while, but she doesn't change her positions. So let's see. Serious push in AZ demanding redo of election. I haven't been following it. It was a disappointing night last night. I was listening to Charlie Kirk. I can only shout out to my wife for I was gonna say allowing me to do the stream, supporting me in the stream because she's putting the kids to bed. What time is it? It's 8:43 my time. Shout out, she's allowing me to do some time here. I'm not making any money off of this, so it's like she's like, how much time are you gonna do in this, putting this YouTube stuff? But the reason why I bring that up is from that comment. I was watching Charlie Kirk. I wish I could have went live with the Kerry Lake stuff yesterday. It was a tough moment. Charlie Kirk and Tyler. I didn't know him until the stream here. Tyler Bowden. Just, man, they were so great. They're so humble. Charlie Kirk was like, man, I misanalyzed it. And a lot of people were watching him because he's the most trustworthy on it. And it kind of hurt me a little bit to see people going at him, because Charlie Kirk was basically one of the biggest ones, and I believed him too, because I was looking at the numbers on my end. I was like, this makes sense. But the thing is, you're basing the numbers on prior elections, and who knows what votes are out there and all that. But he was wrong. And then people came at Charlie Kirk, because he didn't only tell people to vote same day, but he said, I'm voting same day. And there was kind of a push to vote same day. And they kind of came at Charlie Kirk in his email about it's your fault. And I'm like, are we at the point where Charlie Kirk tells people to vote on voting day? And now he's getting blamed? He's like one of the most important people in the movement, talking with young people, high school and college, trying to fight for that Gen Z attention, to make it okay for them not to be corporatists. It was tough to see people going after him, but it was emotional because I'm a big Kerry Lake supporter, but out of difficult times can come great things. I'm not really for the whole, I think she's got to politically fight till the end, but I'm not really paying attention to it right now because I almost want to just move on. And maybe that's the wrong thing. So that's why I'm not the leader like she is. I'm not defeated. I'm not beat up about it, but I just feel like Fetterman won. Katie Hobbs, really? Jeez. So, oh, thanks, super chat. Got a super chat. Andrew Dieter, thank you, $2 super chat. Says, what's N3? N3 says, folks demanding agreement for redo by Friday. What's that? Who's N3? I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Oh, GV, I'm going to tell her my wife got a shout out. We appreciate her too. Love your content. Thanks for doing these lives. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you. It's very, very fun for me. I don't really watch sports much like I used to. I follow this politics stuff. It's kind of insane, but I love it. Jennifer said, my spouse is on travel or I wouldn't be on either. I'm talking to him on the phone right now, so she can relate to that. She can relate to it. But thank you, Andrew. Could you follow up, Andrew, or anybody? I don't know what that means. So he says, folks demanding agreement for redo by Friday. So people are still fighting the fight. Oh, Next News Network. Okay. I believe, is that the dude with the glasses? I forget. I think I follow that channel, now that you mentioned that. So great. I'm not against it. I'm just not, I don't know how much I'm going to be following it because I don't know, man. It was just a tough race. You know why the race was so tough? Let me kind of show you why the race was really tough. Arizona, I did a tweet here and I said congratulations to Katie Hobbs. Arizona, congratulations to you and Katie Hobbs. You've got a new governor and I hope you guys are proud. This is your new governor right here. When you choose a leader for your state, a beautiful state like Arizona. I've been to Scottsdale and Phoenix, and they got great golfing out there and restaurants, and it's like a desert, beautiful with the mountains. You've got a beautiful state like Arizona. Who's going to preserve its beauty in this crazy world? You want someone who's going to step up like a leader. You want someone who's going to step up and be knowledgeable on the issues, forceful, fight for your people. And even if you disagree, just be decisive. That's what you want. And Arizona, I want to take some time to congratulate you. Here's your new governor, the one that beat Kari Lake, who has all those qualities, whether you agree or disagree. Like, you want to be the leader of your pride. If you were a lion, who would you want to be the leader of your pride? You would want someone who could step up, and it would be a female. Kari Lake could be the leader of my pride, absolutely. But no, Katie Hobbs is better. Arizona picked Katie Hobbs. Here you go. Here's your governor, Arizona.
Would you allow the COVID vaccine to go on the vaccine schedule for children to attend school?
Is that
Sorry, so the CDC is sort of moving toward adding the COVID vaccine to the recommendation for school vaccines. It's up to the states to actually decide what's on that list in their state. So would your Department of Health Services put the COVID vaccine on the list of required vaccines for children in school?
That is not something I have contemplated. So yeah.
Would
Here's
you
your leader.
allow the
Here's your leader, Arizona. Yay! Yay! Congratulations, you boot-licking left. Congratulations. The left that tries to make us look like lunatics because we like Kari Lake. This is their leader right here.
COVID vaccine to go on the...
This is worse than Fetterbot. At least Fetterbot is likable. Even though I've been very hard on him as a candidate, not a person. He is a likable dude. Milo talked about that with Tim Pool. This is not a likable person right here. This is a ugly, deceitful. Yay, Arizona! Here's your governor. Oh, we're gonna ask her because what's more important than our children? And we've only been dealing with the pandemic for damn near 3 years. Have you thought about this once throughout that time frame, Katie Hobbs?
Vaccine schedule for children to attend school.
She looks like a deer in the headlight.
Is that
I don't know what you're talking about. He was crystal clear.
The COVID vaccine to go on the vaccine schedule for children to attend school.
Do you want that juice on the schedule so it's mandated for children to go to school? He didn't stutter. He was crystal clear. What did you not understand? What's going on in your head right now? Do you need an algorithm to give you an answer? Why is this happening?
Allow the COVID vaccine to go on the vaccine schedule for children to attend school.
Is that
Sorry, so the CDC.
What kind of answer is that? And at first I was like, she's lying because she didn't want to tell us her real answer, which is, yeah, I want to mandate the juice. But when I look at it more and more, I honestly don't think she knew what the hell is happening. She doesn't know what the hell is going on. When they said she stayed in her basement, I think she's been in the basement for 3 years, just cashing a paycheck and being worthless.
For children to attend school.
is that
Sorry, so the CDC is.
So the reporter's like, the reporter in his head is like, is she a human being? What? Look at his face. Look at this dude's face. He got that sour face. He got that face like, when a child eats some food, like if you try to feed asparagus to like a 3-year-old, they'll be like, yeah. Look at his face. Look at him. He's like, is this person serious right now?
Right, so the CDC is sort of moving toward adding the COVID vaccine.
Because now he has to explain it. He's like, oh, I'm dealing with a dumbass here. Let me try to explain it for her very slowly and clearly. Here's your next governor, Arizona, if the other stuff doesn't work. Here's your next governor. Slowly now. Let me repeat myself.
Moving toward adding the COVID vaccine to the recommendations.
Oh, you don't you don't know what's happening. This is what they're talking about. The CDC, they're trying to move it to the schedule, and there's triggers, and he's trying to help her.
Or school vaccines. It's up to the states to actually decide what's on that list.
Yeah, that's an important point. Katie, maybe I need to get Fetterman in here to translate for you. I don't know what's going on here. I hope you're okay. Even though the CDC says something, they have no power over the states. Now, there are some states who have laws that trigger automatically with the CDC, but those states can redo those laws. So it's up to the state to say whether it's always been up to the state. None of this, other than the federal level when they did the mandate or whatever, none of it was mandated to the states. It was always up to the states. So, Katie, you're running for the highest CEO position in Arizona.
In their state. So, would your Department of Health Services put the COVID vaccine on the list of required vaccines for children in school?
That is not something I have contemplated, so.
She said that's not something I have contemplated, so, yeah.
On the list of required vaccines for children in school?
That is not something I have contemplated, so, yeah.
So, yeah, yeah.
Something I have contemplated, so, yeah.
So, yeah. So, yeah.
Contemplated, so, yeah.
I guarantee you that you in the chat have contemplated it. You've contemplated this more than she has. Oh, yeah.
Contemplated, so, yeah.
Would you allow the...
That is an embarrassment. That is more embarrassing than Fetterbot. I can see people voting for Fetterman because they feel sorry for him. I could absolutely see that. I have no idea what that's about. Not an iota. Not even a clue. At least nothing that YouTube will allow me to talk about, probably. Maybe they will, because this isn't going back. Remember the good times we had with Katie Hobbs? I guess we could call her a friend of show, right? Friend of show, Katie Hobbs. Remember that time when Project Veritas rolled up on you? So when you're governor, Katie, what I'm going to need you to do when somebody asks you a mean question like, have you thought about the juice for children? Like a crazy, radical, right-wing question like that, when you need to escape the microphone, when they roll up for the rescue plan, for the exit plan, make sure the back door is open.
Project Veritas action. Just wanted to ask you a brief question about the statement that you made. Oh, just spilled your soda. Are you going to clean that up or just leave that here for the business?
You got nowhere to run. You got nowhere to hide. Are your ideas that bad that you need to spill your soda all over the place and make a mess and you're just walking away with that angry look on your face?
They're now both currently hiding in bathrooms. Mr. Wolf was here to save her. Now he's hiding in a bathroom. The car's locked, Ms. Hobbs.
This is like, horror movies are out right now. You up to Halloween. You try to get away from the big, bad, ugly questions.
The car's locked, Ms. Hobbs.
And you get up to the car door and you like, damn it, would you?
The car's locked, Ms. Hobbs.
Why don't you open I locked the back door.
The car's locked, Ms. Hobbs.
It's not open. In her head, as soon as that car pulled off, she's like, that goddamn back door.
The car's locked, Ms. Hobbs.
When you roll up for the exit plan, the back door should be open. That's Arizona. Arizona, congratulations. That's your new governor. One thing I will give her credit for, the people that she rolls with, they stay ready. Watch this. She's out here talking about being anti-2A. Let's watch this. Well, Arizona, your new governor, she stays ready though. I'll give you that.
Considering your campaign drives around with an AR-15.
That's an AR-15 in the exit plan vehicle. The back door that she couldn't get open, the people that she rolled with to roll up because Project Veritas, what they were doing, some radical right-wing nut job stuff, like asking her questions. They had an AR-15 ready to rock and roll. I'm no gun owner. That looks sloppy to me, but I don't know. I'm not a gun owner, so I don't know. But she stays ready. She just doesn't want you to be ready, Arizona. Congratulations. I hope you all celebrate that. Let me know what you think. I had to get that off my chest, man. That's why it was emotional seeing Kari Lake lose, knowing this stuff. I didn't even talk about, I have not even brought up the racial stuff with her, which is problematic just from the standpoint that she had to pay out money, but I don't like using race as a weapon. I'm not a master. I didn't fully understand what the accusations were, but she did have that. I mean, she had a lot of bad things. She was the Secretary of State. Are you proud of how the election have been run? Man, it hurt to see Mark Fincham didn't win. I got a video on the channel about Mark Fincham, and you talk about Mark Fincham on YouTube, that's taking a risk. He had I might go back to that video, man. Because I haven't really talked about why I'm for these people. Like, I feel like I still haven't done a good enough job articulating why. There's reasons for this. It's not just because they're in some club or something. And you can call yourself MAGA, and I won't view as that. It's actions. This is when I first found out about Mark Fincham. So I have a video on the channel. I'm actually going to go to that. I haven't watched this in a minute, so let's see what it's about here. Hopefully I don't have any copyright stuff in this video. What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. I'm on podcast style today because my eye is all messed up, bothering me. The lights kind of make me look crazy. So let me just do some audio here. I want to talk about Mark Fincham back in Arizona. He's a representative, and he's the first representative that I've heard talk about election integrity in a manner that caught my attention. When I say I didn't know anything about Mark Fincham at this point, this was a year ago. Those in DC have not talked about election integrity in a meaningful way. This is what I mean. Mark Fincham is actually running for state secretary of Arizona, I believe. And here's what he's working on.
Some of the security measures that you want to implement in Arizona to take that nationwide. Talk to us about that.
You are well read. So we introduced a project, probably in time for last session, where we're putting currency grade fraud countermeasures. So the things you see on the $100 bill, the $50 bill, and I believe even the 20.
Listen to this. This is why they don't like MAGA. It's not because of Trump saying unsavory things. This is why they don't like MAGA.
That are in the print, they're in the paper, we're putting those into the Arizona ballot. So if, in the future, people will be able to shine a black light on their ballot and they'll see this beautiful watermark that is unique to the state of Arizona. That means you can't have counterfeit ballots coming in from California, Utah, New York. So remember Beth Page driving ballots into Pennsylvania. If Pennsylvania decides they want to use this, they can. So the reason we were in Dallas was to take time to build a process map to use this. So there's some features within that. One of them is that we will know for the first time in the history of America how many sheets of paper have been used to create how many ballots.
Are you hearing that? He's basically saying these ballots are, this is the quote unquote, I know we're a representative republic, constitutional republic, but this is the democracy you want to save. He's saying these ballots should be treated like currency. We should know exactly to the ballot how many ballots have been printed. They don't want that. And you have to start asking why.
Think about that. We'll have an auditable universe of documents.
He was running for Secretary of State of Arizona. Could you imagine if you had Kerry Lake at governor, Blake Masters at senator, Abe, did he, where is he at? I haven't looked because I was so, for AG, somebody give me an update on what's happening with Abe. So let me look here. I'm just trying to do a quick I haven't seen an update on Abe. Let's see. Okay, somebody let me know. I can't see. So Abe Hamaday at AG. Imagine if he had that, and then Mark Fincham as Secretary of State.
That's well-defined, and if we have more than the number that have been certified, we know we have a problem. It's an early warning system. The other thing that's so interesting about this is constituents will be able to scan a QR code that is on their ballot and receive a number on that ballot, and only they will know that number. So once the ballot's been processed, they'll be able to go out online and see the image of the ballot they submitted, so that they'll know that their ballot was received, they'll know that their ballot is stored, and their ballot can be found.
You know, the forensic audit is great, but it's a lot of money and time. It's not sustainable. I mean, we're going back to, they started the audit in February 2nd, and we just got the results and the whole presentation September 24th. There was court hearings and all that in the middle, but that doesn't help. I mean, it helps, but that's not something that will help in every election. So this is great news to hear. Because if we have so many ballots out there that we can't count how many are legit for sure, then that alone proves that our process is faulty. I like what he said, and I'm not an expert here. If you're an expert, let me know what you think. I'm just a common person who's now interested in election integrity because of all this craziness going on. How many sheets were printed to create how many ballots? So we know off the top, if there's more than that, we know for a fact some shadiness was going on without question. And then we can look at every single ballot in the election. It just won't be tied to a person. That has to be fixed immediately. You should never be able to tie into, say, hey, why can't we see every single ballot that's been filled out? Why? I think you should be able to see any ballot that's been filled out. Might have a number associated to it, like some type of code that only you know who it is. But why can't we see every ballot? For example, last election, I voted for Andrew Yang. I won't vote for Yang this time. He has great ideas, but he doesn't have the gravitas to do it. But I digress. You should be able to say, hey, you voted for Andrew Yang. Of course not. But we should be able to see the ballot that I used to vote for Andrew Yang. It should all just be public. That alone will help a lot. And I'm not saying that there was a grand scheme or stuff or conspiracy with the election. I am not alleging that. What matters is perception. Right now, I am not confident in our process because our process isn't auditable. You can't do an audit on it easily. If you can't do an audit on the process easily, your process is a mess. Your process is a disaster. That has to be fixed. So here's an election that I might be able to trust more going forward. I'm not looking back at anything. I'm just saying hypothetically, say I had my own country, my own island, and I was going to do an election. Here's an election that I would trust. You do an election, we find out the results same day. No way should it take beyond the same day of the election to find the results. If it takes longer than that, then something along the way is faulty. Too many ballots, too long to count them, something isn't working, it has to be changed. And then once the election is done, it should be so easy to audit, the audit begins the next day. And that audit is finished within a day or two. So we announce the results, here's the winner, projected winner. 2 days later, audit confirms the winner. And that's a process because, especially when you're looking at the general election, there's only so much time between the actual election and when the states need to certify who they're choosing as electors. So you have to be able to. So that's the vibe of that one. I haven't listened to that video in a long time, but that's my thought on election integrity. I'm not for the federal laws. Trump brought that up in the speech, a great speech tonight. He brought up, and I'll go with it, even though I prefer not to do a federal law. And he said that he would do, did he say paper ballots? I believe he said, I have in the notes there, paper ballots. I did not expect that. But I'm not surprised, but I don't know if I've ever heard him say that. So you can see Trump being more solution-oriented. He even mentioned it. He mentioned being more solution-oriented. He mentioned something to the effect of, in the speech, if you didn't see the speech, he said something to the effect of, I don't want to be a critic or a complainer, or I don't like critics or complainers without solutions, especially when you're running for the highest office in the land. You should be solution-oriented. So he's basically saying, anything you hear me talk about, I've got a solution for. Very good. Very good. And I think that's, people talked about how it's good to have someone challenging you like DeSantis. And I have no problem with DeSantis challenging Trump. That's fine. I don't respect how he's doing it, but anybody can challenge anybody. But yeah, I do see that challenge. I think that might have turned him to be a little bit better. I don't know if he would have came out like that without some, DeSantis kind of looking over his shoulder. I think he's still going to bring the flair. The flair is necessary. Officer Tatum, I highly respect him, and others, they are absolutely wrong in saying that you need somebody presidential, or what they really mean is electable back to the norm. That what they're really saying is going back to Jeb Bush. Whether Officer Tatum wants to admit it or not, at least from personality, you want someone closer to Jeb Bush. And, but DeSantis has a little bit of spice with him. Not a lot. Not Kerry Lake. He's just got a little dash of spice. He's like, his personality-wise, he's like Jeb Bush with a little bit more cojones. No, that's not. We need a bull in the china shop even more than in 2016. They have fortified things even better than back then. The way things are now, do you think Trump could beat Clinton again? Not with the social media was huge back then. Hillary Clinton, I went back and looked at this today. Hillary Clinton outraised Donald Trump by about $330 million, I believe. And how I got that from Open Secrets. Let me see. It's from Open Secrets, and what they do is they'd say how much money did the candidate raise themselves, and then they say how much outside spending went for the candidate or against the other one. That's how I'm coming up with that total, because the real total isn't just the money that these candidates raise. Carrie Lake was outspent by a ton. She didn't even have TV ads that I'm aware of after the primary because it was expensive. I was listening to them talk about it in Charlie Kirk. They were saying Mark Kelly had all the money. He outspent Blake Masters by like $67.5 million, outspent him, outraised him. So that means he could spend all this money buying TV ads. That demand increases the price. Mark Kelly's fine with the price increase because he has a war chest. So the higher the TV ads go up, the less that Blake Masters and anyone, Carrie Lake, it's more expensive for all of them. They don't have the money. They didn't have the money like Mark Kelly. So they try to go online, and you go online, and we have no idea if the algorithm is suppressing America First candidates or anyone who doesn't bend the knee. In 2016, it wasn't like that. That's why somebody in the chat said earlier, Google promised we ain't letting this happen again. What that means is the algorithm. That's why I say the most important thing is to make that algorithm public. Right now, there's a lawsuit from Texas, to do that. But let me go back to. I think I put this in my DeSantis as a BI in my BIA thread. I might as well just show it here. I kind of went off the rails a little bit on Twitter, so it is what it is. I stand by it, so don't think I'm retracting it. But I did. I'm not going to get into this too much, but I think it's in the thread. So I said Ron DeSantis is BI changed my mind. My mind hasn't been changed yet, so keep trying. I'm open to be changing my mind. Let me go down and see if I talked about this here. I thought I put it in here. No, I didn't. I didn't see this. This is from friend of the show, Will Cormier. He's not on Twitter as much. He's like, man, I can't. It's toxic, and I got to take a break from it, which I fully respect for of different purposes. But he says, what? He's like, laugh aloud. Oh, ish. When did this happen? The new right is crumbling with a swiftness. So I can imagine Will Cormier coming in like, what? Because I haven't said a bad word. I'm not going to dwell on this. I'm moving on from this right now. Not long term, but just for this video right now. But you could tell, because the last I talked to Will Cormier, I was like, man, Ron DeSantis is this and that. He could be better than Trump. And then he sees this. He's like, whoa, stuff has blown up. But I want to go back to the Trump speech, man. I took a lot of notes here. I talked about how I don't care about DeSantis because the speech was that good. He started with his accomplishments. Then he talked about, one of them, the foreign countries respecting him. I think most people can agree with that foreign countries very much, because they respected him even if they didn't really respect him, they didn't know what he was going to do. So they had to respect him, even if they didn't want to respect him. They could have thought he was a babbling idiot. But he was like the drunken master, one of my favorite karate movies. That's Jackie Chan, right? I think it was Jackie Chan in the old Drunken Master. I love that movie, man. If it weren't for copyright, I'd look for clips of that where he's drunk, like he's literally a drunk. He's a drunk fighter, and he's like drunk, and sometimes he has a drink in his hand, and then 20 guys come at him. He's like, he just does all his karate stuff drunk. It's so dope. So that's kind of like how Trump was. It's like, man, is this guy smart? Is he stupid? Is he a savant? Is he brilliant? He talked about term limits, ban on lobbying. I want to see what that is. I mean, this is all stuff that would have to happen through Congress unless he was doing executive order just for the executive branch. But he talked about term limits in Congress, so he's going to be pushing them. He can't get that done. Well, it depends on if MAGA, so that would be a good push for him to say MAGA take the House and Senate in 2024. Ban trading stocks. That should be a populist left thing. The populist left should agree with all this. Can you believe that? Anti-war, he talked about that in the speech. Term limits, ban on lobbying, ban on trading stocks. Jen Perlman, tell me where you disagree. Kevin Iverson, I know for a fact you agree with all those. populist left would agree with all of that. He talked about how he wasn't going to, he would have to refill the strategic oil reserves. It's pretty embarrassing. Our president drained them to keep prices down artificially low. He made his case why we need him more than ever, because you're putting him up against DeSantis, and you're like, well, why don't we go back to Jeb Bush with a little bit of law seasoning on him, but more liberty oriented, and that's our guy. And so Trump has to fight that, and he's like, well, you need the bull in the china shop more than ever. Did you see what happened in the midterms? So he tried to big up the midterms like it wasn't that bad, but I felt the vibe like he was making the case like you need me just like you needed me in 2016. And I agree. Who's going to cut through the noise? Ron DeSantis is not cutting through any noise to be, victorious. One of the powerful parts of the speech, and you guys can tell me in the chat what your favorite parts was, when he said, I don't have them clipped because I was watching it live, but he said, I think he was talking about the midterms. He said the people in our country aren't ready yet. He said that most people in our country haven't suffered enough yet. Wow. I did not expect him to say that. A populist message. He's like, don't blame the people. He basically was saying, don't blame people for voting for Katie Hobbs. Those people just haven't suffered yet, and they don't know what's going to come soon. So he didn't want to be too dark, but he had to be realistic. We're seeing layoffs. I'm seeing Stripe. Stripe, I think. Redfin. Amazon laid off 10,000 people. Twitter, of course. But it's more than just the tech industry. It's a lot of people being laid off. And he basically was like, don't blame the people. They just haven't suffered enough. And he said, by the time 2024 comes, I hate to say it, I think the suffering is going to be strong enough that they will be open to us more. Man, I didn't even think about saying that. I've thought about this stuff a lot. I've thought about the midterms a lot. I've listened to every second of Charlie Kirk's coverage from election day to yesterday. I have never thought about that. I haven't heard anybody else bring that up. Now, I've said that in the past where we're going to see people come together when you're suffering, you don't care about somebody's pronouns, you don't care about the color of their skin. But for him to say it was, I think, a powerful moment. He said the American people are the only force. He's absolutely right. And he didn't say the populist. Notice he doesn't say MAGA. He doesn't say the populist left. He did say like the America First movement, but he also said the American people are the only force. That is an inclusive message. And he mentioned multiple times, you look at our coalition, it's black, it's Asian, it's Indian, it's everything, it's old, it's younger. It's the most diverse movement in our political movement in our country. And he said the American people are the only force big enough to combat this one earth government people who are trying to force that, and the people who literally take money from a Ponzi scheme that, in my opinion, they knew allegedly was a Ponzi scheme just to try to stop this movement. He wanted to make sure that it wasn't just about him. He mentioned Herschel Walker. So that was important. Gave a good moment to rally. Like, come, guys, Nancy P got fired. Let's clap that for a second. That's a good thing. And did she officially announce her retirement? And I haven't read the story. Did she go to Egypt or something like that? I heard people chatting about it. I haven't read the articles. I said I talked about this before. When there's love in the room, man, that was dope. That's one of my favorite Trump lines. I don't know if I've ever heard him say that before. Maybe because a lot of the stuff he says repeatedly, I don't remember hearing that line before. I talked about it. This is not a movement for traditional candidate. That was a diss at Ron DeSantis indirectly. And I like that. I'll end it with, I am your voice. Basically, he was like, I am your messenger. He just wanted to reiterate it. Don't think that I got my head big and swole. Don't think I'm a different person from 2016. I know 2020 felt different, I'm still your voice. And you know, the one place that was kind of iffy is the pandemic, but I think he's okay. I think he's okay. I think he understands. He took the feedback. He heard the feedback from it. He's still going to be proud of what he did with it, and I actually don't have a problem with that. I'm not for it's fascism, but he's not for the mandates or anything like that. I just think he wants to be proud of what happened under him, and it was going to happen anyway. So I'm not going to hold that against him to the point where I'm not going to support him. No, I'm still a Comic Dave Smith guy, but Comic Dave Smith has not announced, and we'll see what happens. I could change, but I am a Comic Dave Smith guy. I'm not changing there. I want to read this one tweet here. One of the biggest mistakes, the populist left does not pay attention enough to what's happening in the populist right, and the populist right doesn't pay enough attention to what's happening in the populist left. One of the biggest mistakes the populist left ever made was not heeding the warning signs of AOC being a fake populist. Because now she's big, she's a big name celebrity. They can't get her out of office even if they wanted to. And I'm looking at this in regards to DeSantis. We don't know if he's real or fake, but let's just look at AOC. I was a big AOC supporter. She talked about being a populist. Her message was on point. She didn't talk about the race stuff nearly as much before 2020. Black Lives Matter turned it crazy. Trump turned it crazy too. But I mean, she came in 2018, right? But she didn't, as the Trump stuff heated up, that's when the race stuff came. She did, at least maybe I was just in a different place. I don't remember talking about the race stuff that much back then. But she became a celebrity. She became pro-war. She's an authoritarian corporatist. Just something to keep an eye on for Marjorie Taylor Greene making deals allegedly with Kevin McCarthy, and Ron DeSantis cozying up to these establishment figures, trying to sell that he'll still be for your freedom while he cozies up to them. You've got to cozy up to the establishment to run for president. Trump did, hired Wall Street, all that. But for Trump's standpoint, I think it was literally out of necessity. And when he got into office, who's the MAGA that you're choosing from for these positions? There's just not out there. It's not many. So he's going to run into the same problem again. But I think he's going to be a little bit better. Is it fair to bring up AOC in that regard? Katie Maria was able to stop by. Thank you. The Lead Elite says people will become right-wing populists when they see their energy bills in 2024. That's what Trump was talking about. He didn't want to go too dark. He wanted to just say he's basically saying, I know y'all listening, most of y'all are with me, you rock with me, you roll with me. I think there's going to be more that rock and roll with us as time goes on. We don't know that for sure, but I agree with that prediction. School of the World said, I love Trump, but his head has always been swollen. Absolutely. You can't run, though. Who's going to run for president without having a swollen head? That includes Carrie Lake. I think she just hides it well. But you have to have a certain ego. Katie Hobbs, she looks feckless and awful, but she has that same ego about her. You have to have that to even want those positions. Ryan Smart says, why is no one talking about the ballot initiative that passed in Michigan? They no longer require ID to vote. I'm ignorant. I didn't even follow it. I was so following the Carrie Lake stuff. I have no idea what you're referring to. But thank you. It will be on my radar. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. I was focusing on the FTX. There's even more stuff coming out with FTX stuff. It's even more stuff. What a scandal. Yeah. So Trump has the big ego, but they all do. You saw DeSantis' smug reply to Trump today. They all do. So that's my takeaway from the speech and tonight. And I think going forward, I'll check out. Is there any reaction going on right now? I'm just curious if there's any mainstream reaction, any MSNBC reaction, and I'm going to be out. I don't see anything live. Just looking for Trump speech reaction live. Let's check it out. Let's look at, we do have some clips here. Let's listen to the talking heads. One thing that came up in the Charlie Kirk, Wendy Rogers, who I respect a lot. She can be boisterous on Twitter, which I fully am. Obviously, I'm fine with that if I roll with Trump in any way, shape, or form. But you can mistake. Wendy Rogers is very Trump-like. If you don't know, she's a state senator, right? I believe for Arizona. I believe she's in the state Senate. She's a heck of a figure to be that prominent. She's a national MAGA prominent figure as a state senator. And I haven't heard that she wants aspirations to a higher office. She's actually just a grassroots, down-to-earth, nuts and bolts type of candidate. But she's very smart. She uses her forcefulness to break through the noise, just like Trump. But what I bring her up because she was like, man, what happened with Carrie Lake was shocking to her. And she brought it up, and she was like, maybe we're in an echo chamber. Maybe we're just too much in an echo chamber. We know for a fact we're in an echo chamber online because YouTube will keep this information regulated between just people who subscribe or whatever, not even in a nefarious way, just anybody who's going to be a Trump supporter. But I think they talked about it from even the rallies. They were like, Tyler was like, man, if you got to watch out, are the same people going to every rally? Like Trump does these big rallies. He didn't say anything definitively. He was just like, just be careful that you're not doing a rally. And he's like, I love everyone who comes to the rally, don't get me wrong. But to increase the movement, make sure that you're getting different people to the rally if you can. But so I don't want to be in an echo chamber. This is Fox. Fox is anti-Trump, other than Tucker, and Tucker's neutral on Trump. But let's see what's going on here. Is this, this is a conservative pundit reacts to Trump's special announcement.
It is not about any one person. If the voters conclude that you're putting your own ego or your own grudges ahead of what's good for the country, they're going to look elsewhere, period.
I'll turn off this music. So it says conservative media personalities and pundits are hinting doubts that former President Donald Trump is the best candidate for 2024. That's kind of what we expected. Let me see if I can find another video that won't do a copyright. Well, this is actually Pence from a day ago. This is a little bit off topic, but looks to be CNN. I don't know if anybody saw this. I have not seen this. Pence from a day ago, it looks like.
Vice President Mike Pence is speaking out in great detail about Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election after sending Trump this message about 2024. Just the day before, one day before, Trump may announce he is running again. Listen to this.
Do you believe that Donald Trump should ever be president again?
David, I think that's up to the American people.
These people are so untrustworthy. I'm just laughing because I'm looking at his face and I'm like, bruh, you know that we know that you know that we know that you're lying. You're a liar.
He is running again. Listen to this.
Do you believe that Donald Trump should ever be president again?
David, I think that's up to the American people. But I think we'll have better choices in the future.
Better choices than Donald Trump.
For me and my family, we will be reflecting about what our role is in that.
Will you run for president in 2024?
Well, we're giving it consideration in our house. Prayerful consideration.
Do you believe you can beat Donald Trump?
Well, that would be for others to say. And it'd be for us to decide whether or not we'd want to test that.
So if you decide to run and he's up there, so be it.
Man, these debates are going to be ugly. I'm telling you, they need to charge pay-per-view. If I'm lucky enough to be able to afford it, I would drop a 20 to see. Would you not drop a 20 to see Pence, just Pence, DeSantis, and Trump in a debate? Man, that would be ugly.
So be it.
Out front now, our chief political analyst, Gloria Borger, David Urban, longtime Republican strategist who was also a senior advisor to the Trump campaign, and Bakari Sellers, former Democratic member of the South Carolina House of Representatives. So, Gloria, how significant is it to hear these comments from Pence literally 24 hours before?
It's not significant, but I'm not in the business of saying no one can win anymore. I mean, I talked about it. I'm not going to overdo it, but if Fetterman can win, if Katie Hobbs can win, anybody can win. I'm not laughing because Cat Turd had tweeted and laughed about this, Pence running. Yeah, it sounds funny, right? Like, Mike, who thinks Pence is going to win? But I'm not laughing about it. I don't know what's going on anymore.
Before Trump may announce he's running for president again, and days after Trump's major midterm losses.
Look, I think it's very significant. I think Mike Pence was a very loyal vice president. And in this interview, you hear him calling the president reckless, saying he endangered me and my family, that he was filled with indignation, and that he can't account for what the president was doing that day. He said, I was at a loading dock at the Capitol and never heard from him. He's got a book coming out. He is telling this story to the American people, and I think it's clear.
They're still talking about J6.
To me that he's decided whether or not Donald Trump is in or out. He's going to probably run against the man whom he used to say, we all stand on Donald Trump's strong shoulders. Remember those words? I don't think he's going to be saying that anymore.
No. I mean, no. David, the question is, why is Pence doing this now?
Well, look, as Gloria points out, right, he has a book coming out, and I think that was planned long before Donald Trump's.
We're in the 2024 cycle. That's why. So whether he basically officially announced with that, hemming and hawing. Pence announced he's going to run for president right there.
Announcement tomorrow.
See, that's what the Trump-DeSantis thing was about as well. Trump knows that Ron DeSantis just won for governor. And he did it before the election, but we all knew he was going to win. It's just like poker. Trump wants DeSantis to show his hand that he's going to run for president. It's hard for DeSantis to reply to Trump without acknowledging he's running for president. Trump knows he's not ready to announce that, so Trump's going to get ahead of that and then force him to address these national issues while he's governor. When we all know, because if DeSantis wasn't running for president, he would say, "I have no beef with Trump, and I'm going to be governor of Florida, so it doesn't matter." But he did not say that.
One way or another, but I do think it's a little poetic justice that he gets to rain on his former boss's parade a bit and remind people that while the Secret Service was whisking him out of the Capitol to chants of "Hang Mike Pence," his former boss was sitting at the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue doing nothing about it, and Mike Pence is.
Is it wrong that I laughed at that? God forgive me. This is not funny. So if you're laughing at this, you should be ashamed of yourself.
But I do think it's a little poetic justice that he gets to rain on his former boss's parade a bit and remind people that while the Secret Service was whisking him out of the Capitol to chants of "Hang Mike Pence," his former boss was sitting at the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue doing nothing about it, and Mike Pence is reminding everybody of that fact tonight and tomorrow, and then this all week.
Yeah, right. And, and of course, Trump's got that big announcement tomorrow night. Bakari, he certainly planned to announce he's running again tomorrow night. That's the plan. Now, we're going to see what he does, right? Because that plan was set before the midterms, and, we'll see. But this will be a moment no matter what. And I want to play the former First Lady Michelle Obama because she has a book. She's reading an excerpt from it where she talks about Trump. Let me play it.
It shook me profoundly to hear the man who'd replaced my husband as president openly and unapologetically using ethnic slurs, making selfishness and hate somehow acceptable, refusing to condemn white supremacists or to support
How did I know that race would come up?
people demonstrating for racial justice. It shocked me to hear him speaking about differentness as if it were a threat. It felt like something more, something much.
Differentness. I did not know that was a word. Differentness.
Much uglier than a simple political defeat.
If she would be the person to choose to run. Some people said she could get exposed like Kamala. So I don't know. But I think she would be the best choice for the Democrat Party. I think she'd be better than Mayor Pete, obviously better than Oprah. I'm not voting for her. I'm not supporting her. I'm just saying what the best for the corporate look would be. She would be the best choice.
So, Bakari, what happens if this all starts up again tomorrow night?
Oh man, I am kind of dreading the next 2 years of having to deal with the unpredictability, the lack of sensibility, the using racism as political currency that is the 45th president of the United States if he dare run for re-election again. I think the words that you heard echoed by Michelle Obama are the way that many people, many women, many people of color, many people who are put upon daily. My grandmother would always say, you can't fall off the floor. And there were many of us who felt like we were on the floor after Donald Trump's election. And her words actually echo the feelings that many of us had that day. We just had to continue to fight. And I think you saw that fight emblematic in not only 2020 and Joe Biden's election, but also last Tuesday. I just want to comment briefly, Aaron, about Mike Pence, because Mike Pence isn't raining on Donald Trump's parade. He doesn't have nearly the bullhorn. He's on a book tour. But tomorrow, if Donald Trump announces for president, nobody's going to remember who Mike Pence really was.
Well, I mean, this is you say it quite boldly there and baldly, but yes, that is the. Well, I mean, this is you say it quite boldly there and
Trump's parade. He does. I just want to comment briefly, Aaron, about Mike Pence, because
no lies detected. Go ahead and say what you need to say. What's his name? Bomani, Bacardi. Go ahead and say it.
Mike Pence isn't raining on Donald Trump's parade. He doesn't have nearly the bullhorn. He's on a book tour. But tomorrow, if Donald Trump announces for president, nobody's going to remember who Mike Pence really was.
Somebody give him the Dre beat and the sunglasses. No lies detected. We agree, sir.
well, I mean, this is you say it quite boldly there and baldly, but yes, that is the big thing. Trump knows he's going to take that bully pulpit tomorrow, whatever he'll do with it. David, the question is what he'll do with it. The calls from within the GOP, to move on from Trump have gotten loud, right? They've gotten loud because they just had this really terrible and pathetic and unexpected loss handed to them. Republican Congressman Mo Brooks. He spoke at Trump's Stop the Steal rally. I played the soundbite 100 times on January 6th. Trump endorsed Brooks for Senate until he unendorsed him. So Brooks is saying now it would be a bad mistake for the Republicans to have Donald Trump as their nominee in 2024. Donald Trump has proven himself to be dishonest, disloyal, incompetent, crude, and a lot of other things that alienate so many independents and Republicans. And of course, David, he is not alone in sounding the alarm. Here are just a few prominent GOP members in the past few days.
President Trump had to insert himself, and that changed the nature of the race, and that created just too much of an obstacle. And by the way, it's not just Pennsylvania. You look all over the country, there's a very high correlation between MAGA candidates and big losses, or at least dramatically underperforming.
See, this stuff is effective. Let's not lie about it. Otherwise, you don't have Katie Hobbs, and assume everything was on the up and up. You don't have Katie Hobbs without this stuff being effective. I don't know how it's effective. I don't know who's watching this stuff anymore. But we look at this and this is just idiocy. It's just ridiculous. That's why I had a problem with DeSantis' response to Trump. That's why I had a problem with it. If you heard DeSantis' response to Trump, I'll probably find it here then. He said the same thing Pat Toomey was saying. He tried to say, oh, he said something like Tuesday was underwhelming. He's spreading the same corporate lie BS that it's Trump's fault, because he said that in response to a question about Trump, spreading the same nonsense. So if Trump took a shot at DeSantis and called him Death Santis, I would knock Donald Trump. I'd be like, that's not true. But, Trump hasn't done anything like that. I'm just saying that that's the equivalent. When Trump does his silly nicknames and all that kind of stuff, it's funny because there's some truth to it. You see where Trump's coming from. He doesn't do any type of lie like that just undermines the movement or the work. I don't think you'll hear Trump even say DeSantis did a bad job in Florida. I don't think you can. I haven't said that. Let me find the clip where DeSantis respond. I'm sure everybody, if you have it, then we're going to watch. It's short. It's not a long clip, minute long. Let's take a look at that. He sounds just like Pat and Toomey here in this clip. Let's play. I'm gonna play it through and then I'm gonna break it down.
One of the things I've learned in this job.
They didn't play the question part.
Trump's former Vice President
Hold
Mike
on.
Pence.
Hold on. I want to find the question too, because I think the question's kind of important for this one. Okay, this one has the question. Let me get this. It's hard to hear, but I'll just repeat the question because the volume looks like it's low. Because I like the question and then his facial reaction to the question. I want the whole thing here. Because he knew the question was coming.
We would like to know what you think about Trump's big announcement and some of the less than flattering comments he has made.
So the question, I don't know, it's, he probably knows the reporter or whoever is asking the question, and she brings it up in a way that kind of is like, Trump's not a serious person. Let me just play it through. Let me not interrupt it. Let me play it through, and then I'll break it down.
We would like to know what you think about Trump's big announcement and some of the less than flattering comments he has made about you.
Well, one of the things I've learned in this job is when you're leading, when you're getting things done, you take incoming fire. That's just the nature of it. I roll out of bed in the morning. I've got corporate media outlets that have a spasm, just the fact that I'm getting up in the morning, and it's constantly attacking. And this is just what's happened. I don't think any governor got attacked more, particularly by corporate media, than me over my 4-year term. And yet, I think what you learn is all that's just noise. And really what matters is, are you leading? Are you getting in front of issues? Are you delivering results for people? And are you standing up for folks? And if you do that, then none of that stuff matters. And that's what we've done. We focused on results and leadership. And, at the end of the day, I would just tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night. The fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, it was the greatest Republican victory in the history of the state of Florida.
Okay, let's break this down.
We would like to know what you think about.
So the tone from the reporter is like very friendly to DeSantis, which you don't need to be antagonistic, but it should be a more neutral tone. She's basically saying like, "Oh, this buffoon." The tone is what maybe it's my head, but for me, my interpretation is the tone is, "Oh, you see them smiling." We're only 3 seconds into the question. He already knows the question's coming. He's already there. Look at them; they're already smiling. They can already tell. They know what's going. I don't know if he literally knew or what, but he could tell the question was coming. It's all this goofy tone, like Trump's not to be taken seriously. No, he said those things that are, they're not serious things, but this whole situation is a serious situation to me.
We would like to know what you think about Trump's big announcement and some of the less than flattering comments he has made about.
We'd like to know about the less than flattering announcement. This is I'm sorry, I wasn't sharing my screen again. We'd like to know. I should have you see, I don't do this properly. Let me actually do this. Oh, I can actually set this up as a monitor. One of the things I don't do properly is when you set up your studio, you have to have a monitor to see what everybody else sees. I actually set up a monitor, so I'll be able to see it now. So let me bring it back again. So he has the smile. He's ready. Oh, we'd like to know. Trump is buffoon said this.
Big announcement and some of the less than flattering comments he has made about you. What do you think about Trump's big announcement?
I didn't remember this. She's asking about the announcement, him running for president too.
And some of the less than flattering comments he has made about you.
Well, you know, one of the things I've learned in this job is when you're leading, when you're getting things done, yeah, you take incoming fire. That's just the nature of it.
This is disingenuous. This is corporate talk. The question is, Trump's running. What do you think about Trump running? And then he said some less than flattering things about you. What do you think about that? The less than flattering things that Donald said, unless I'm missing something, tell me, that he said about DeSantis, it was all about, well, he didn't even break down what it was about, but none of it was about him doing a poor job in Florida. Am I off there? Anybody know? Am I wrong there on that? I don't think, I do not think DeSantis handled this well at all for me, but I know it will resonate with a lot of people. But this is corporate speak. This is a straw man. Donald Trump didn't say DeSantis was doing a terrible job in Florida. Why is he talking about, oh, you know, when you're doing such a good job, you take incoming fire? That's not what this is about. He knows that's not what this is about. That's a lie. We know what it's about. It's about him running for president and Trump feeling like I helped him out. I'm the face of MAGA. I'm running. And you're challenging me, and you're getting backing from Jeb Bush, the guy who I destroyed to get to where I am now. I'm the face of the movement. You don't care about the movement. That's what it's about. It's not about you doing. I think you did a great job in Florida. Don't straw man the argument. I'm not. It sounds good. It's wrapped up good for people who want to get to DeSantis, but for me, it doesn't resonate at all. It's BS. It's corporate nonsense.
This job is when you're leading, when you're getting things done.
He's acting like it's Brandon when Brandon criticizes him, that's a good response. Like when I'm getting stuff done, they're scared and they criticize. This is coming from a whole different angle. This is not Brandon criticizing you.
Yeah, you take incoming fire. That's just the nature of it. I roll out of bed in the morning. I've got corporate media outlets that have a spasm, just the fact that I'm getting up in the morning.
What does that have to do with Trump? Trump is not a corporate media outlet. He's doing it from Truth Social. It's not even in the Google Play Store anymore, I don't think. This is a straw man argument. What is he arguing against? I don't know. I don't understand what his point is here. That has nothing to do with what the tension is about. I haven't heard one MAGA person say DeSantis has done a bad job in Florida. So what is he even referring to?
I roll out of bed in the morning. I've got corporate media outlets that have a spasm, just the fact that I'm getting up in the morning.
Straw man.
And it's constantly
straw man. I think you've done a great job in Florida. Well, I don't know why you're arguing. That's not the argument.
Attacking, and this is just what's happened. I don't think any governor got attacked more, particularly by corporate media,
straw man,
than me over my 4-year term. And yet, I think
Trump hasn't attacked you over your 4-year term. What are you arguing against?
What you learn is all that's just noise. And really, what matters is: are you leading? Are you getting in front of issues? Are you delivering results for people, and are you standing up for folks? And if you do that, then...
So Trump didn't do any of that? How is this? This doesn't resonate with me. DeSantis has done that in Florida. What does that have? So all that matters is, are you leading folks or not? So Trump didn't do any of that? He's trying to discredit the whole movement, y'all. I don't know how much clearer it can be. I would never come at this question like that because I have too much respect for the movement and the speech we just heard. He has no respect for it. Now, I could be saying that and then wrong that he could get the backing and then he could run the country like he does Florida, but you've got to respect why I don't trust that. I don't trust that.
Governor got attacked more, particularly by corporate media, than me over my 4-year term. And yet, I think what you learn is all that's just noise. And really what matters is, are you leading? Are you getting in front of issues? Are you delivering results for people? And are you standing up for folks? And if you do that, then none of that stuff matters. And that's what we've done. We focused on results and leadership. And
so he's trying to come across as he's the wild idiot. He's the mad scientist, but he's bad at his job. He's the lunatic. I'm the electable one. Look at what I've done. That's why Trump started his speech tonight, in my opinion. Well, I don't know if it was based off of this, but it's to combat this idea that, wait a second, don't forget, I do these boisterous things. I do this to break through. He's a hell of a marketer. He's a promoter. Ron DeSantis is not. That's why he has no chance. That's one of the reasons why. If the process is legit. So that's why Trump, to me, starts with his accomplishments. He's like, don't forget I have accomplishments. Don't think I'm just some idiot.
at the end of the day, I would just tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night. The fact of the matter is...
Dude, I don't like this. So I thought he said the midterm specifically, so I would need to get clarification. But even if he's just talking about his victory in Florida, Trump is coming at him from a national everybody knows Trump's coming at him from a national standpoint about the whole country, not just Florida. And who helped you in Florida when you could have lost to one of the most wackadoo political figures of our generation, Gillum? So this is
last Tuesday night.
So the last Tuesday night is very damaging to the MAGA movement. He doesn't care or think about MAGA, okay? So it's possible that he doesn't care or think about MAGA and he would do what's best for the whole country as a liberty type focused person. That's possible, but I don't believe it. I'm not, he can change my mind, but this ain't the way. And he doesn't look like he's going to change from this. So this is going to get ugly. People started unfollowing, or I don't give a damn. I really don't. I don't want people to fall out over this, but this is where I'm at. Either we respect it or we don't. But yeah, in my thread, people were like, well, in my thread, I was a little harsh because I literally called him a B word. But
today, I would just tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night. The fact of the matter is...
That's not good. The scoreboard was the machine. I have the MAGA versus the machine. It was MAGA versus the machine, the corporate GOP and Dems, and MAGA got played. MAGA got crushed. I got bamboozled, and you are looking at it like it's something to make fun of just because you did well in Florida.
Tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night.
And this was in response to a question from Trump. So to me, it comes across as blaming Trump for what happened Tuesday. When he says, look at the scoreboard. Who's the scoreboard against? He's saying him versus your MAGA people. That's what he's saying. I'm sorry. If Comic Dave Smith runs for president and if he doesn't come from a standpoint of going after Trump or MAGA while still being respectful, I'm out on Comic Dave Smith. That populist movement is what you will need to be president.
The fact of the matter is...
I'm not clapping for that.
No. The fact of the matter is it was the greatest Republican victory in the history of the state of Florida.
Okay. So that's his response. It just confirmed everything I thought about him. I don't know why I haven't done the monitoring like this. I am monitoring my screen now, which is much better. But that's I did this after I saw the clip. I have to go back and watch the whole thing. Clips are not good to just base things on, but that clip was enough for me to do this. And if you're watching, you know what it says. Ron DeSantis is a B. Changed my mind. And so some people respond. Somebody said, bro, why do you have such a problem with DeSantis? I don't blame you for asking, because that's a pretty, especially for me, I'm not really usually doing that kind of stuff. But, well, with the thumbnail is he's back bees for this video. He doesn't acknowledge, this is DeSantis, the populist movement that helped put him in power. He's basically spitting on it. Before 2016, there hadn't been a populist movement since Andrew Jackson in the 1800s, 1824. If you want to go after Trump, fine, but acknowledge the people. Like I said, when you look at Trump, I don't see Trump. People might confuse it and think, oh, I'm just some Trump person. No, I see the millions of people behind him. So if I've got beef with Trump, it's almost like I need to push Trump aside and talk to the people who are behind Trump and support him. DeSantis has not done that. I can't roll with you if you don't understand what's happening here. I absolutely cannot roll with you on a national level. I don't know if your success in Florida has gone to your head. I don't know what's happened. DeSantis is a different person than when Trump endorsed him. We're all different people, the before times and after times, but this is a more arrogant corporate DeSantis to me. Because if he was more humble, he would be fine with VP. Support the movement, support Trump, give it one last run. We'll run with VP. Or I'll just sit out and be the governor, and then the Trump fire plays itself out one way or the other after 4 years. I talked about this when the Mar-a-Lago stuff went down. This is a tweet from someone else who had the same questions as me. You can see her August 8th. She might have been before me, because I don't know if I was asking it on August 8th. So Jack Posovic on 8/8 is a date to remember when they rolled up in the crib where he made the announcement tonight. The feds rolled up into his crib in Florida. Jack Posovic said, can't wait to see the DeSantis action on Mar-a-Lago. He will drop the hammer on this lawlessness. The hammer never dropped. Did he ever even talk about it? He might have talked about it in one little clip. I think I have to go back and look. I faintly remember a clip from a speech with him saying some generic stuff and me thinking like, damn, I was more upset than he was. I'm looking at this at a whole different lens now. And Wendy said, how did this occur in the state DeSantis governs? Where is he at? I was asking the same question. I thought, this is not believable that they went through some back channel, rolled up at Mar-a-Lago in Florida, and DeSantis didn't know it was happening. I could be wrong. I'm not saying that's what happened. I find that hard to believe, and somebody would have to explain to me what the process was for me to believe that happened. So looking at what's happening with the way he's acting, arrogant, corporate, anti-MAGA, anti-Trump, just trying to be coy about it, looking at this in a whole different lens. And Wendy replies that DeSantis did squat on this lawlessness upon President Trump. He did absolutely nothing. He's supposed to be this big bad, he's supposed to be like his alpha, right? Absolutely nothing. Trump had his foibles too, but did nothing. This is directly with Trump. So was DeSantis in on it? DeSantis no on it? Was it plausible deniability on it? Why wasn't he more forceful after it? Maybe he was like, okay, roll up in the crib. I might want to be president in 2024. There's people who want to climb the ladder. They will roll over you. They will stomp on you. They will stomp over their own children. Ted Cruz went to Cancun or whatever during the outage from last year, and then came back and said, I really had to go because my daughter wanted to go. He took his own daughter, took her. The bus is coming down the street. He just took her and just threw her in front of the bus. Welcome to politics, young lady. She's like 12 or something like that. Bruh, even if that was the reason, why are you bringing your daughter into this? Make something else up. But so I don't know, man. So Wendy says, I'll ask my question again. How exactly is it that the FBI raided the home of United States president, a former United States president in Florida, in the state that Ron DeSantis governs, without Ronnie D having the heads up intel on the event? Either it's incompetence or something else? That's a red flag, y'all. It was a red flag back then. I talked about it back then. I didn't know what was going to happen, so I dropped it because I don't know what was going on. But now it's time to bring it back up. I talked about the AOC being a fake populist. Somebody said, Farhan K said, can we have someone without Trump's baggage and also not DeSantis? That person needs to come forth right now. For me, that'd be Carrie Lake, Kathy Barnett. But I said to Farhan, I would have preferred Trump not run. He's too old, but it's too late. There's other reasons too, but he's going to be too old for me. But it's too late now. He's running. So he's announced. He's in the ring. You heard the speech. It's rally behind him time if you want. There's no other person getting in the way of that locomotive. Josh said, personally, I care more about how he governs more than who he cozies up to. His actions put his constituents first. Feels like that should be a model to emulate. Should he acknowledge MAGA? Sure. But plenty of folks have done so and gone on to do little. Okay? My response to that was, in response to a question about Donald Trump, DeSantis mentioned the midterms, where he hinted at it. He didn't say the word midterms. Said that last Tuesday was underwhelming, and then talked about how well he did in Florida. He's blaming Trump when we know that's a corporate lie. So I just asked the question, can you explain why he would do that? And Josh did respond, good, honest conversation. He's like, no, I can't. Josh said, I hate when Twitter does that. Hide replies. Why? Besides Trump taking multiple shots, probably because of that. They don't know if that's real shots or not. Besides Trump's taking multiple shots at him, I can't really explain this response. I don't think Trump's words, behavior is an excuse for D to dump on him, but as a human, I can understand digging at someone who's taking public shots at me. None of this is a good look. I mean, you can dig at Trump, but you can't disrespect the movement. It's the most significant political movement since the early 1800s. Why would you crap on that? Well, I would never crap on that. Even if the movement turned sour, I would crap on when it turned sour going forward. I would never crap on what it did. So that's that. So I'll go take a look in the chat here, see what's going on, what the vibes are. Is that a bot or what is that? Let me. Somebody's doing creative stuff in the chat. 2024? No, that's actually pretty. Wow. Oh, it's from Facebook. Wow. Okay. Through StreamYard, got a Facebook comment. 2024. Got people streaming. Thank you if you're listening on Facebook. Got Rumble going. So I was worried about, let's talk about this. I was worried about him. He didn't go back to 2020. He did not go back. He's done with it. He's done with it. Maybe he might bring it back as a rallying cry, but for his announcement, he did not go back to 2020. He did talk about election integrity and said, hey, I'm going to be solution oriented. That was a big statement a big takeaway from that speech. He did not go back to 2020 and say stuff that I thought he was going to say to get the video pulled. Ray Studios, I'm going to go off now, but Ray just got off work. What's the time? Is it 10 past 10 now? Yeah. I got to go to bed. Ray, I got to switch up my schedule. Me and Ray do another channel, No Politics, on that channel. And I just couldn't do it. Right now is my bedtime. It's hard. And I'm working out and it's getting me more tired. So I would love to do lives every night, but I can't. Got to put the kids to bed. And then after that, I could do it when my wife's asleep and the kids are asleep, but I'm just too tired. So I got to get back up. Man, this grind is for real. I was listening to a great interview with Adam Krigler and some random dude or whatever this dude was. And Adam was talking about how hard they worked, him and Tim grinded back in the day. Researching, looking at, I'm very bad with figuring out the algorithm. I got to get better with that. So you might see some videos. I might experiment with okay, let me see if these videos the algorithm is very important. And Adam Krigler was talking about how he was like, back then, Tim was like like obsessed with figuring out the algorithm. I have not been, and that shows. It's not just putting videos up. Hike Martin says video debates will be fire. Yeah, it's even worse. It's passive aggressive. I think that's what he's talking about, DeSantis. DeSantis is being very Minnesota passive aggressive, but Trump did a little bit of that tonight, saying a traditional candidate's not going to win. Yes, GB. Did you see that? It's the same interview where he talked about leaving like how he left the show. I don't really care about all that stuff, man. That's their personal life. But just Adam, and it's great because Adam's just very forthright, very authentic. Love Adam Krigler. There's quite a few people on the channel who are Krigler fans. Man, he's great. But I didn't watch him when he was on Tim because I was blue-pilled. But it was a great interview. Search Adam Krigler leaving Tim Pool. The part about the kind of the drama and all that I didn't get into, but the other stuff where he's talking about how he worked with Tim and they balanced each other out. They would disagree, then they would still play music on Fridays. And whoever did that interview, man, that was a good. When you do an interview, you're trying to let the other person shine. And you're just trying to do what you need to do to bring it out, keep the conversation coherent so they're not jumping around and stuff. And that person, I don't know, I subbed to his channel. Whoever that dude was that did the interview with Adam Krigler, kudos to you, bro. It was an amazing job. That is not easy to do. With the interviews, you really kind of want to be, you want the other person talking. And he let Adam feel comfortable, and it was one of my favorite Adam Krigler's interviews. Go watch that. That was amazing. Yeah, GB agrees. Wow. Friend of the show, Ray Studios. I'm going to talk about this from the standpoint of being solution-oriented. Ray Studios says, I'm looking at houses and apartments in Florida. Really, people were talking about mail-in ballots and how that the GOP needs to do ballot harvesting as well. Even some people said, I don't condone this, but break the law like Democrats are. That's not for me. But I don't blame you because it's just like you've had enough. The real answer is you've got to move to concentrate your power. The real answer is with Arizona, you've got companies moving in, companies bringing blue people with them from California, Texas. You've got to move to Florida. You've got to move to Georgia. So long term, when DeSantis is gone, DeSantis has done a great job with Florida. So when DeSantis is gone, you can keep it that way. But Florida's been lucky in a sense that the people who have moved to Florida, I don't feel the vibe that they, even though there's been a lot from New York, I don't feel the vibe that they've turned Florida blue. The vibe I get from Arizona is the people and Colorado, the people coming from California to enjoy lower housing prices and moving because of work, tech companies, whatever, they're staying blue. They're Katie Hobbs as a virtue signal, or they're ignorant. They don't know. How could I vote for Carrie Lake? She's the one they make fun of on Saturday Night Live, that type of stuff. So Ray Studios, to me, that's being part of the solution. If you can, it's just not easy. I got a family, wife, 2 kids. I can't easily just pick up and go. Yes. So Jennifer is probably the best in this channel right now at the ballot, talking about voting. She's volunteered. She knows the game. She agrees with me. She says, I correctly pointed out rural Republicans can never compete in the harvest game. I think you've got to get better at somehow maybe taking that money and spending less on rallies and more to doing what you can, ballot harvesting, or copying what the Democrats do in your own way in suburban areas, to be like, hey, have you voted yet? Are you Carrie Lake? I've never knocked on doors politically. I never will, because I got to feed my family. That's volunteer work. But what sacrifice are you willing to make? Are you willing to volunteer for a campaign? Are you willing to, like Sweet Home California? I think she got very small pay or something for that, but that's civic duty. So what she's saying is, how much, if you're going to ballot harvest in a rural area, it would cost 10 times the amount that Democrats do to get the same vote. It's not efficient. It's not practical. So there's got to be, Ray Studios is the solution. I know it's not what people want to hear. It's almost like the homeschooling solution. Like the problem is you might have to homeschool, but that means one of y'all might have to not work. You might have to have a smaller home or apartment. There are sacrifices that have to be made. If we're not willing to make the sacrifice, then anything can happen. So I don't know. I'm not an expert in the ballot stuff. So maybe Jen, do you have an idea of where that money could go that would be a good bang for the buck for MAGA to get the vote out? Because that's why the Dems don't want to debate anymore. And notice they're doing the debates after early voting now. There were people who had already voted. They saw John Fetterman in the debate, and they literally said, "I want my vote back." They were literally, the Google search for "can I get my vote back" kind of spiked after the debate. They push it back past the early debate. Katie Hobbs didn't even debate. What does it matter? Carrie Lake would have destroyed her, and it wouldn't have made any difference. They would have got the same votes out that they got. So I still want debates, but it's how do you get the vote out? Jennifer says the other option is to make it illegal to harvest anywhere. Yeah, you have to get the power to do that. In Florida, they've got a trifecta. They've got the House, the state House, Senate, and governor, not only all red, like they're all like on the same page. Like the Disney stuff, which I fully support, I did a video live, like he's not the one to F with, giving him props. That happened quickly. Jennifer says, if a voter isn't engaged enough to go in person to vote, we probably don't want their vote. I agree. It should be a voting day. They were going after Charlie Kirk for telling people to vote same day. Man, that's bizarro world. And the reason why, he wasn't saying only same day, but the reason why he was saying that, because we don't trust the mail-in voting process. So where are we at? You go same day, the machines go down, all that kind of nonsense. GB says, I moved my family from Oregon to Tennessee this year. Hasn't been easy, but I'm glad we left the left coast. Jennifer says we need to have every MAGA person just have everyday conversations and pray. Very powerful, just common. And it's kind of the vibe I got from Trump in this speech. He was did he say anything that was really, I think he's trying to broaden the MAGA base. I really do. What did he say that could even be maybe the M13, whatever, the Mexican gang? Some people kind of get rubbed the wrong way. How could you be for Mexican gangs, cartels? I'm trying to think what was controversial. What could they have clipped to say racist or controversial? I can't think of anything. Maybe the border is the only thing. So he was pretty neutral in that speech. I thought I was going to go off, but more comments coming in. I'll do a little bit more and then we'll be out. Ronwell Nagales said we should hire an election observer for the election cup. We do. I think we do. In Arizona, they had observers. You can't observe that. You can't observe. There's one thing you cannot observe. I don't know why I can't say that word. There's one thing you can't see. Let me simplify my vocabulary. There's one thing you can't see, and that's the algorithm. So Jen, is there any software involved in California voting? You don't have to say the name of the company, but when you vote, what is the process? Does it get scanned? And then is there a software involved after it's scanned? Is there an algorithm? Is there a programming involved? You can have 1 million people watching the voting process. If you don't know how many votes are out there, that's what Mark Fincham talked about, and you can't audit it, and you don't know what the algorithm is, you're not watching anything. You really are just there wasting your time. It would be like watching a Twitter feed. You don't know if your post is deranked or not because you don't know what the algorithm said. Elon Musk tweeted that Twitter is for the people and by the people. And I quote tweeted him and I said, no, it's not. Not until you make the algorithm public, which you promised to do. You're on the clock. Jennifer said they found dozens of filled ballots in a. Are you serious? Are you talking about this election? Wow. Jennifer from Sweet Home, California says they found dozens of filled in ballots in a ditch near San Francisco after Election Day, along with other mail. It's it's just dozens, but when you look at some of these races, man, the Boebert race and all this, I don't know. Is your other podcast on a boat? Wow, she said it's this election. What did Hike Martin said? Free Studio says there's a non-compete law in Florida. If it wasn't for that, then Silicon Valley would have already moved to Miami. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Thanks. What was the boat? Was that the graphic we used, Ray? What was Hike Martin talking about? Did you post a link to it? We got to put more stuff. I'll do more TikTok, not TikToks, but shorts and stuff for that other podcast. Yeah, that's one thing I do. I don't know about the. Yeah. So GGB, I think, is talking about what would you go after Trump for? So it's a tough one because I'm not going to go after him for saying the unlived penalty for drug dealers. I'm not going to go after him from like a hate standpoint from it. From I guess a libertarian standpoint, it's a little unsettling. I don't know where he's going with that one. He's been talking about that. I don't know how I feel about that. Because I actually feel that believe it or not, I feel like all drugs should be legal. Even the hard stuff. Because we're creating the black market, but who knows? Maybe you do that and everything turns to hell. Who knows? Okay, so Jennifer says, not sure. At the precinct level, it's all paper. They all then go to the county where they manually check signatures before opening envelopes. Don't know the process from there. Yep. So she said those ballots were from this election that were in the ditch. Okay. I remember seeing the picture of poll workers back in that 2020 day. Two black ladies wearing Biden shirts and hats. I'm sure they were fair and impartial. I don't remember that one particular. I do remember the one where it looked like she had a USB drive, but maybe it wasn't. And they kind of talked about that in the J6 hearing. I don't know. Okay, so Ray talked about the non-compete a little bit more. Wow, lively chat today. Oh, he's making okay. I didn't get it. Oh, Hike, why you have jokes today? He's making a reference to the infamous boat incident from the show. If you don't know, that's an inside thing. How could I not see you? You got jokes today, Hike. Okay, I see you. So Ray says the lead elite means that no employee can go start a rival tech business or go to a rival tech business after leaving a tech company. So that would play a role. Wow. But fun show today. It was good timing. I'm glad he didn't mention Kerry Lake. I thought he might. Kerry Lake's people might have said, don't even talk about it because we got to handle stuff. But fun show today. It's weird how I got my mic all up in the. It's like closer to the camera. That's not on purpose. Fun show. It felt good after the. Didn't the Donald speech feel good? Felt good after the disappointing night yesterday. But thanks everybody for stopping by. This is it, man. If it weren't for Trump, probably would have never met Ray Studios and everybody, all the friends of the show in the chat. That's what it's really about for me. So I don't know what's on the radar. I might try to do some goofy stuff for the 9 a.m. uploads. I do uploads every day at 9 a.m. So you can check those out. I don't know if I'm going to, I don't know what, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about for the 9 a.m. for tomorrow. Have no idea. I think I'm going to, the Adam Krigler interview really hit me. So it's like, because what they're doing is working hard and smart. And they were able to turn their channel into something special. Now, Tim was famous, pretty much famous before he even did his channel, but that's irrelevant. And on top of that, he's still to this day on his grind every day. So I'm gonna experiment with some algorithm stuff, and we'll see if that stuff. I might start doing more Tim Pool reacts. It's crazy. I have a channel. Let me show you something. This is how crazy this is. I uploaded the same video on 2 different channels. YouTube doesn't really like that, but I wanted to run an experiment. Let me show you real quick. This is crazy. It was the Milo one. So I did a video on Milo. Let me share my screen. Oops, I already was sharing my screen. So let me share my screen here. So I did a video on Milo. Milo spits bars on Timcast. And I kind of knew that probably would get more views than my typical ones, because anytime I put Tim's name in it, it gets views. So I might have to do more Tim stuff, whatever. Just use it to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. Just use his name. Ride the back of that algorithm. But I have another channel called Tim's Pool After Show, which I should be doing an upload every day at noon, and I kind of skipped the last couple of days, which is lame, but I apologize for that. But and so let's look at the same video with no thumbnail. Let me see where it is. Where is it? Why am I not seeing it? Oh, it came up in the live. Okay. Look at this. So you see on this channel, on the other channel, I have like 400 subs. So that video got 1,000. This I don't care about the views and all. I'm just telling you about the algorithm. This is inside stuff. So if you don't care, I don't blame you. It's like creator stuff. But look at that. 1,000 views. For my videos, that's a lot. So if you go to this other channel, Tim Pool After Show, 480 subscribers. My current channel, thank you to I've got 50,000 subscribers. This has 480 subscribers. I did the same video with no thumbnail. The thumbnail it just was whatever thumbnail Google chose. That was the thumbnail. 2,000 views. That's wild, isn't it? Now, I'm not letting YouTube doing anything, because this channel is literally, because I saw like every time I did a Timcast react or whatever, it would get more views. So I was like, let me do a different channel for it. That was probably stupid. I should probably just do more on this channel. But it's experimenting, and it proved that maybe it's because your channel has a narrow niche. Not that YouTube's doing anything nefarious. Well, it is doing nefarious stuff, but comparing both channels, not that one channel is getting nefarious more than the other. It's that this channel's literally called Tim Pool After Show. So if you do something with Timcast, Tim Pool, we'll give it to more. We know that more people like it. My current channel is just all over the place. So just, I don't know, means nothing, but just wanted to share that. The Adam Krigler video got me thinking about that stuff. Thanks a lot for checking out. I gotta go to bed, y'all. Tomorrow's an off day for working out, but I want to get up early. I usually been dragging out of bed, like setting a timer and all that, like, oh, give me another half an hour. Nah, I want to get up. My wife, when she gets up at like 4, whenever she gets up early, but she just up, get her coffee, and she's up for the day. I'm dragging, so I'm gonna be up at 6:30 at the latest and get the day started. Everybody have a great day. MAGA represent. It was a good day. That's why that speech, we're looking for a speech to say that's why we still rock with Don Dada. And we got it. Check out the website, middlemaga.com. Got the gear promoted to Ultra MAGA. All of you are. Take care.